This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
I don't know where the dogs are. They're all over the place. Yep. Let's see. So I made a community post last night when I was doing the spin for the notebook. The names, some people's names and addresses showed up on from out of PayPal, so I deleted the video off of YouTube. All right. I don't know. I didn't really, at the time, I was like, oh, wait. And then I don't know. And LM let me know that it was on there, albeit rudely, but, it was on there. And I definitely just went, whoa. I don't want any of that happening. So I deleted the video this morning. So I was going to show you how it happens, though. I mean, I don't know if you can see this screen here. But you see how you can see, this is the, it's in OBS Studios. I guess you're just looking at it right now. And that's the wheel the normal way. So what the deal is right here. I guess you can't see what I want to show you. In OBS Studio, they have this thing where you can add a window source to the screen. And when you do that, you pick the wheelofnames.com window that's in your on your screen somewhere, okay? But the problem is with that particular one, I don't know what the deal, but watch when I just create a new screen. See how it flips right over to Google? So if I went right to my email and started looking, and I'm not looking at the screen anymore because I have 3 monitors. This is on the left screen, and then way over on the right screen, I'm reading the names of people who contributed. So I'm not noticing that they're over here. And then I go back to the wheel. That actually worked, going back to the wheel that time. But there's no reason that it should do that. That's not how the program is set up. Okay, so I don't know why it switches over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that way that hold on a second. So I'm just going to remove that, and that's some kind of crazy screen there. I'm not sure what the hell that is, but and so what I'm going to do now is just randomly, like I was doing before, because the third monitor to the right, it never shows up on the screen until that little glitch happens. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, hey, thanks, Kubi. What I'm going to do now is just use the middle monitor like this. Let me show you. So it's the middle monitor, and then I'm merely going to just bring over into this area because it's pretty good, the program to spin. And now you see the ad that comes with it and everything. And I'll just spin it like that. Then there's no chance it's not related to this other window over here anymore. It's just a website. Right, so there's no. Does that make any sense to you guys? Yeah, in OBS Studio you can add a window source, and then if you change the window that it's on, it switches over to that one without me noticing. So I've got 3 of them. So, anyways, it's all good now. But anyways, I apologize for anybody out there that felt uncomfortable about it. The only people that do, there really isn't anything to do with it, but there are psychos out there, especially like on Reddit and so forth, who do stupid shit because that's what they do. They have no morals or scruples, or they're just terrible people. I mean, immediately they start talking about it. Like as soon as, you know, the girl that used to be a moderator on here watches the show every single night, waiting for something to go back to their little Reddit buddies and complain about, okay? So immediately after the show, I mean, I didn't know it until this morning, but they make a post and they're talking about it, like, oh, wow, ooh, 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 ooh. You know, it's just disgusting people, you know, like, you know, I don't really know what to tell you, but hey, Bama forever, what's going on? Yeah, so tonight I'm just going to do, for the Daybell case, just one person, like one, it's going to be Melanie Gibbs' husband, okay? But today we didn't do any shows at all, so we're starting off the show. This is a regular show tonight, and we're at 0 for the day, other than Kubi right there. So if you guys can help support the channel tonight, that'd be great. What I might be doing here is everybody who's pre-ordering the blue notebook, I'm going to spin for all the people that are in that. And then the winner gets the one remaining red one that's still in existence and the blue one at the same time, okay? And 2 pens too, you know, the 2 of the newer pens that are coming. So if you get the, you know, using PayPal, ironically, to buy the, or Cash App or any of those other ones, if you want to buy the blue notebook, and you get on there, because I've already got the notebooks, I'm just waiting for the pens. I've got all the envelopes and everything. And it'll be coming in. And then we'll do a spin. Once those come in, I'll do a spin. And yeah, you'll win 2 notebooks at the same time. All right. Hey, thanks, Three Boys Mama and Bama forever. Wow, thank you so much. And Alley Cake. The taco's going, where's blue? Where's blue? Hold on, let me see if I can. Oh yeah, there it is. Da-da-da-da.
Support the channel, always.
He's like,
Great thanks for everything you do. Ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean
there you
wave.
go. Oh man. Oh man. Blue and Chloe got crawled into this bed because Chloe pooped in the bed last night, and then Chris cleaned it up there and put it back together. And Blue and Chloe, they just wanted to hang out in there. I'm gonna see if they'll show up in the actual camera over there. And thank you, Oddball and Alley Cake and Bama Forever and Three Boys Mom and Kubi. Very cool. Let's see. Anyways, I felt bad when they told me that some of your addresses' names showed up in there. Oddball, Alley Cake. I gotta get you guys in for the spin here. Yeah, so the portion we're gonna do on Lori and Chad is just gonna be the husband of Melanie Gibb, and I got it. It's only like 30 something, maybe 40 minutes long after I reduced it, and that'll be at the end. Okay, I'm just tired of listening to financial crap, and you know, it's just not really. I can tell you guys don't really like it that much as well, so you know. Yeah. So what to do first? Let me get rid of that. That was yesterday. Thank you, Circuthan. Oh, wow. Hey, thank you very much. Jennifer Surfer. Or Jenny Surfer. Probably Jennifer, too. Come on, don't you guys like that little blob face there? It's pretty good. Yep. And Taco Queen, Jennifer Surfer, then Taco Queen, thank you. I think what I'm going to do first is this missing person that was on East Idaho News. And so let's go over that. There's actually two people that are missing though. So hold on. Here we go. 2 girls reported missing in Alpine. Father worried for their safety after wife leaves town with them. All right, so this is Tamzen Walsh and Lilyana Walsh, and it's kind of a worrisome story based on the information. Sounds like they might still be out there, but it's hard to know really. Hey, thanks, Brianna25. Yeah. Tomorrow what we're going to do too is we're going to do Delphi again, and I'm specifically going to bring up the lunacy. Yeah, they are nuts. The lunacy that's being brought up on one particular channel. I'll try to avoid saying her name, but she's just been a disgusting person covering the case for a while. Completely conspiracy, nut job, wacko, going after the German family relentlessly, right up there with that crazy Slow Joe wacko that was out there. So they're all part of the same cabal of lunatics who think there's some crazy, deep cover-up with law enforcement, and it's all fake stuff, and it's unbelievable. So tomorrow we'll go over that, and people can call in and discuss what you think and whatnot. But man, it's really pretty bizarre, I have to tell you. Yeah, and they got too many subs too quick on the Murdoch trial. And I'm not even sure the videos on that case that were done are so unlike the ones done on the channel, just the lunacy portion. It makes you wonder what in the hell, what was going on there. Very, very strange. But here's what sucks, though, is that she put out these videos in the Murdoch case that were somewhat reasonable, like a normal person would make. But then what it does is it makes people think, wow, she must be telling the truth on the Delphi case, too. And it's just not true. She is an absolute embarrassment to mankind, and always has been. So I don't really know what to say, but anybody that goes after the family members of victims who are actually victims themselves, especially in a case like Delphi, where they have absolutely no correlation or connection to the murders whatsoever, you're a terrible person. Okay? I mean, just know that. When you look in the mirror, just know that. Yeah, well, you said I was stupid, LM. You said, here, let me read what you wrote on your first email. So hold on a second. Let me go read it. You said, hold on a second. It was pretty rude. I mean, I appreciate you telling me, but the way you did it wasn't really, wasn't nice. Let's see. Don't really want to waste the time, but let me see if I can find it. must have been this one, maybe. Yeah, okay, got that one. Then through his name, address, 308. Yeah, I can't find it, but you said that it was really stupid, as if I did it on purpose. See, stupid is something people do when they do it on purpose. I just can't find the quote now. But yeah, it was kind of rude. Then we had a normal conversation after that. But, you know, it's always better when you're just nice about it, you know, instead of... Well, let's see, where is it? Yeah, I think I was responding with your... You sent 2 different emails on it, so I don't know where the other one is. But yeah, thanks for letting me know. Would have been cool if you were nice about it. I was being sarcastic when I sent you one back saying, thank you for being so kind about it. Yeah, that was sarcasm. But anyways, let's get on to this. This is more important than that right now. The video's gone. It's been removed. Everything. All right. Where is it? Jace Walsh hasn't seen his daughters and wife since February 23rd. We just feel so hopeless. I haven't seen them or spoken to them, said Walsh. This is Eastside News. Walsh and his family live in Alpine, Wyoming. He told eastsidenews.com that his wife, Stephanie, 41, took their daughters, Lilyana, 12, and Tamzen, 8, on February 23rd. He was at work when he said Stephanie was supposed to be taking the girls to a doctor's appointment, but instead left town. Yeah, so it says, so his wife Stephanie took their daughters, and it says he was at work when he said Stephanie was supposed to taking the girls to a doctor's appointment. Like, you know, he's just going to let her do that. None of our friends or family have seen them or spoken to them. That includes both Stephanie's sister, her grandparents, my parents, who she is very close to, her 2 best friends. Nobody has heard from them, he said. In an email to eastsideofnews.com, Lincoln County Sheriff Shane Johnson said the 2 girls have been reported missing and his office is actively trying to locate them. Johnson said the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, one of the places that we support, let's see, for missing and exploited children, has distributed some posters. They have additionally been entered into a national database where other law enforcement agencies have been made aware. He said any leads that are coming in are being followed up on. Johnson wrote that Stephanie had been entered into the system to check on her welfare. So this is the mother, Stephanie. Deputy David Hannon with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office said the case on the girls originally started as a welfare check. He said in the middle of February, Stephanie and the girls were located in Nevada. He put out an attempt to locate to all other agencies. They were contacted by an agency in Nevada and checked on their welfare. They were fine. The girls were fine. There was nothing amiss. Law enforcement in Nevada let them go. So she just took them and headed off to Nevada. But it says, however, as time went on, they still have not returned home. Obviously, the mom has not wanted to contact anybody. So that's when we started with entering them into the system as missing girls, Hammond said. There are agencies all over the country that have been notified to keep an eye out for them if located. If they're located, contact us. It's even gone as far as the Forest Service and BLM, so there's a lot of agencies that are trying to locate them and get a hold of them. So there's some weird stuff that comes up down here, though. Walsh said he was worried because Stephanie had been known to suffer from mental illness. He said Stephanie's phone, along with their daughter's phone, was left behind. Walsh has been able to track credit card usage. Stephanie has been in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and then San Antonio. I mean, she's all over the place. There have been charges for food and gas, but not for hotels, he said. When she got into Las Vegas on February 25th, she emptied our bank account and bought a new car, a $37,000 vehicle, which is more than the cost of every other vehicle we've ever bought combined. But charges stopped in their account on March 15th, and he's unsure how they are getting by. See, that's kind of scary at that point now. It's almost like you're one last hurrah, you buy a $37,000 car, and you're not spending any more money out of any kind of account after March 15th. Lilyana is described as 5'2" with blue eyes and 108 pounds. Tamzen is described as 4'2" with blue eyes and 60 pounds. They are believed to be traveling in a 2019 gray Honda Odyssey, according to a poster provided by EastIdahoNews.com. Walsh said on March 6th, and 3rd Judicial District Court in Wyoming granted an emergency custody order to him. Hammond said he had not been served since Stephanie had not been located. At this point, she could be anywhere in the country, Walsh said. Walsh hopes that they safely return. And these are them right here. This is Lilyana and Tamzen right here. And I guess they also have these couple dogs with them. And that's the vehicle. So I guess they could sleep in that vehicle for sure. But man, that's a little concerning that there's no usage of any kind of where are they getting money is the question. Yeah, let's see. Let me go down to, I think I made a folder for it. Second, right here. So it's just, I don't have the address of the father, but this is the town. I mean, it's just this little tiny little town in the middle of Wyoming. So that's right there. That pink, and then I guess they went down into Las Vegas, then Los Angeles, and then over to San Antonio, down in here. So, I mean, maybe they're just traveling around and camping, but I don't know. It doesn't sound good to me. What do you guys think? Oh, yeah. This is what she said. LM said, Gray, you just showed her addresses on your live going through PayPal. Delete it right now. Oh, my God, that was stupid. I think that's kind of rude. I mean, what do you guys think? Does that sound somewhat rude? That's what I'm just saying. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think that's just really rude to say it like that. But it's okay, LM. That's just how you are. I mean, I've learned to deal with it. You know, I just dropped it after that, but you know, it just came out. I just thought I'd say it because it is rude. I mean, it's freaking rude as hell. Yeah, that's not Katie. Okay, see you later, Katie. Have a good time. All right, let's see. Yeah. Well, anyways, it was absolutely an accident. If I did it intentionally, then it would be stupid. But if you're just looking over at a different screen and it did that error that I explained earlier, it's not stupid. You know, stupid is when you do something stupid, where you're literally do something on intentionally dumb. Yeah. So, Katie, go find a different channel, okay? You sound like a troll that got accidentally given an account. Yeah, definitely dysfunctional for sure. Yeah, I mean, I explained it. You know? And so it's easy to do, especially the way that the OBS works. I mean, it's stupid how it has a window with a name. It has to be that window and a name. And then you change the window and it changes the name, but it still switches over to the other window. It shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Yeah, normally, but yeah. I'll even though Katie's dense, I'll put her back in here. I don't really care. Oh, it was obvious. I mean, I don't know how I can explain it better, but when you start off with somebody saying, "Oh my God, that was stupid," you know, right out of the gate, you think that's a good way to approach somebody? I mean, not only that, it was 4:53 a.m. in the morning. I mean, I'm sleeping. Isn't that even more stupid? To think that I'm going to be waking up at 4:53 and checking my email randomly? Yeah. That's right. Good vibes, Scouting Dude. Good vibes. Oh, and Adniram. Thank you. Yeah, you guys don't need to jump in. I mean, she just... You know, I appreciate her telling me. You know, but what's even weirder is that there's a psycho ex-mod that's watching every second of every show, trying to find stuff and then reporting back to the Reddit communities. It's wild. Yeah, just... and then they turn it into something bigger than something is, you know. But it just is what it is. Anyways, what do you guys think about that story we were just talking about? Do you think that that doesn't sound good? That she buys a $37,000 car. She has multiple, like, schizophrenia as well. So it could be that she bought this vehicle sort of as a last hurrah, right? Almost feels like they removed that from the article. Let me see if I can find that again. I thought that was in there. Let's see. Yeah, I wonder if they removed that from there. Interesting. I don't see it now. Yeah, it's crazy. I just want to, if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. At least I own up on it. I appreciate people telling me about the mistake. You know, something that's like that. I mean, yeah, I want to know about it. So that's great and everything. But, you know, can you do it with a little bit more kindness? You know, doesn't that make sense? Hey, Katie, you are a troll, okay? Because to think that calling somebody in an email like that, "Oh my God, that was stupid," isn't rude, then you're an idiot, okay? And you're not welcome here if you're an idiot, okay? Thank you. Your opinion points in the direction of you being a very just wow, lunatic almost. That's what people say when they want to sort of passive aggressively become a troll. I didn't time anybody out, LM. I just removed your comment. No, LM, this is what you said, LM. Let me read it again. "Ray, you just showed our address on the live going through PayPal. Delete it now. Oh my God, that was stupid." Couldn't you just stopped it at the first part of that? Okay, right, LM. From the one wacko ex-mod, it wasn't that severe of a situation. But thanks for letting me know, LM. I did delete it. Now, can we make the show not about you again? Please? There's other things that I'd like to discuss. Is that cool? Or what is, Lily? Your personality? Or what are you talking about? Okay. Now I'm going to put you on timeout. I just explained how it happened, LM, and that means you're dumb. Let's see, where was the last? They said the last sighting was in Nevada. You, Katie. Katie, see, don't do your passive-aggressive garbage, okay? If you don't think in the middle, like something goes on, oh my God, that was stupid, and that's not rude, then there's something wrong with you, okay? Like in the middle of, you're just trying to tell somebody that they made an error on their show, you would be a little bit different, don't you think? I mean, if I did a poll, it'd be like 90 to 10, and the other 10 are trolls, like you're sounding right now. So maybe if you can come back later and sound like a rational person, that'd be great. I know. It's so obvious that it's rude, and it's startling when people don't see it. Now, I am rude sometimes myself, obviously. You know, I'm just saying, in a situation like this, it isn't like anybody did something intentionally, nor was it even stupid. I have 3 screens. I'm looking at my third monitor that never shows up on the screen ever, except occasionally with the stupid wheel spin glitch that if you switch, add another window on there, it goes over to that one. Okay, so that doesn't make somebody stupid. It means, oh, wow, that was unfortunate. Like it was just a coincidental, accidental moment. I don't know, Charisma. I'll just do what I feel like doing. She does the same thing every day. Shows up, makes a couple of comments, doesn't get it when you try to explain it to her. It gets really old. So, Charisma, it is what it is, okay? This account, well, just leave it alone, okay? You're always adding fuel. Yeah, I mean, I admit that it was an error that happened, okay? But to be called stupid because of something that it's almost like I don't even have control over it. You know, it's like a, you know. Oh yeah, it's great. Wild Mountain Time. Yeah, it's awesome. It's just, oh yeah. This is exactly how I thought of today. I'm going to get up today and I'm going to spend the entire day trying to get stuff together to make the show interesting again instead of the boring ass Lori Daybell trial. Spend the whole day finding things, putting things together, only to come on and then I do apologize for if it caused anybody problems, but deleted the entire video, and then it just turns into an absolute shit show. So it makes me almost like at that point, I don't like doing the show anymore after that. Do you understand? It's not fun. The whole rest of the show is just not interesting to me. I lose all energy. You know, you guys just get to show up and watch and listen, and I have to sit here and make it, and then have to deal with absolute wackos, okay? And so I don't know what else to say about it, but yeah, I mean, very, very, very frustrating. Yeah, right. I don't know. It's already dead already, Cindy. You notice? Just went. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple names that had an address, but nobody, you know, it's hard to combine and connect who they were and stuff. And it was just rude as hell. And the thing is, you know. Huh? What makes you nervous? What are you talking about? I can't even see Plato's comment. What the heck? What is that face, Danielle? Thank you. Yeah, no, I just gotta, let me just sit here for a couple minutes. Just hang out. Yeah, it was absolutely, I mean, why would I thank people and then put their addresses on the screen at the same time intentionally? I'm not even looking at that screen. But I've eliminated that from ever happening again by disassociating that little wheel OBS scene that I built. Now I just move the window over and it just doesn't look as cool or anything, but it, you know.
Okay, so Mom took off with the kids. Did she have legal custody? Or did Dad? Is it a kidnapping or just a custody dispute gone way off the rails?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds more like that second one. Or wouldn't Nevada have arrested, or, you know, at least arrested her, because she wouldn't have had the right to take the kid. So wouldn't it seem like that? Doesn't that make sense? Thanks, Eugenie. No, I know, I got it. I just, man, getting so tired of every day there's some just.
Great to be a freak again. _basic generous.
Awesome, yeah. I mean, tonight's actually a pretty interesting show, if we can get to it. Hey, Katie, I'll do what I want to do, Katie. Yeah, you do what you do, and I'm not really interested in your opinions or thoughts, because you've already shown that it doesn't work very well. Yeah, tomorrow we're doing the Letecia Stauch trial again during the day, and, you know, it's another 8-hour shift. But hey, what do you guys think? I'm gathering up the old, like after that one's done, you know, during the day I could maybe like for like 4 hours because it's just on another computer over there. You guys gotta watch the old Jodi Arias trials. I'll speed them up to 1.5, cut them down to like 3 hours. I think you guys will just be shocked at some of the similarities some of these people she has to a lot of different people. I've been downloading them, fixing the audio as best as I can, removing a lot of blank space, and then I'll speed it up a little bit. I think you guys will, for those of you who want to watch it, will be like, oh my god, this is crazy. Looney Tune stuff. You know, hiding behind a Christmas tree. I mean, just, yeah, she was an absolute bunny boiler. Thanks, Eugenie. I don't know. I'm not sure when it'll be. It'll probably have to be after Letecia Stauch, but I'll try to get it all together. And then I can actually bring, let's see, how would I do that? Not really sure how I'll do that. Maybe on specific days or something. Yeah, I don't know. I have my 3D model of the entire upstairs bedroom. Might be pretty interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you never watched it? I'm just telling you right now, you guys. If Jodi Arias' trial was today, it would be the biggest case of any of these other things that you've heard about. I mean, it was so huge, and this was back in 2012, and true crime is taken off. This thing would be such an epic proportion trial. It went on for like 60 days or something. It just kept going on and on and on. She was on the stand herself for 20 or 18 days, back and forth with the prosecutor, telling these long, drawn-out stories that are just... What do you mean you missed my models and maps? I can't make them on all the cases that we go over. Yeah, that's kind of when I started back then, too. Thank you, Crystal S. Appreciate it. All right. Hey, it's 8675309. You know what that means, everybody?
Hey, Allah, hey, Allah.
Oh, you think you... Yeah. Well, we'll do it. Let's do it. We're going to go over it. Hey, thanks, Mac. I feel better already myself. Yeah.
Enough, I do miss Jody days. Smiley face.
Yeah.
Face.
What do you guys? I mean, I think it'll be interesting. I think there might even be a lot of people watching because it's been so long, and so many people are interested. There might be, you know, if we share it in the right places, there might be a lot of people watching. But it could be something. Do 3 hours a day on that other computer, and I can still be over here and listening, and then, you know, I think it'll be interesting to people. So, anyways, let's get going here, and thank you very much, Mag. Appreciate it. And like I said earlier, if you want to buy the blue notebook before I'm sending them out, the first batch. If I'll put all of your names into a spin, and if you happen to win, I'll add in the one last remaining red notebook, the original one, or the first of the better notebooks, I guess you could call it. Does that sound good? All right. Thanks, Lisa Taylor. I almost kind of wish all these trials were over at this point. The Coley McCraney one's pretty interesting, though. So, how about let's do that one next. Let me go to JB Beasley. There.
Thanks for all the hours you're putting in since the trial started.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. Hey, no problem. Yeah. I mean, Zozo was telling me about it, but it's like I feel like I have to cover Daybell, but just after yesterday I was just thinking, this is just not interesting. You know, this financial stuff. But today we'll listen at the very end to the husband of Melanie Gibb, and I condensed it down to I think 40 minutes or something. And so that'll be the last thing on there, and none of the other stuff I'm putting on there. So what I'll probably do is just pick out things that I think people would find interesting, and that'll just be sort of something at the end of the show. If you want to stick around and listen, you can. If you don't, you don't. I know, it's crazy. I haven't been following the West trial. That case never really interested me that much for some reason. Too many weird YouTubers got involved with that right off the get-go, and it just sort of, I didn't want to be in that, I guess. Okay, so let me get to Coley McCraney, and there was a website out there called WTVY.com, a news website, and they were doing a running blog, and they did it 2 days in a row. So I can just read through these, and the links are in the description if you want to go read them yourself. But I'm just going to put them on the screen, and I'm going to do day one first here. Okay, so it might not take too long to get completely caught up in here, but I think it's already interesting just looking at it. I also have the state evidence file. We might go over that on a different day.
Thanks for
but
all you great. It's really great seeing art.
Thanks, Crime Freak. That's like a perfect name for this channel, isn't it? Yeah. So this is yesterday, all right? We weren't able to do this yesterday, but I'm going to read it. I'll just read it from off to the side. This is the general area here. It says the jury has entered the courtroom and Judge Fillmore has begun jury instruction. The prosecution has begun opening statement. Dale County Assistant District Attorney Emmett Macy is addressing the jury. Family will testify. J.B. Beasley and Tracy Holley searched for a party but never returned home. So, I mean, you guys know that, I mean, we did a whole podcast on J.B. Beasley, Tracy Holley, and how they live in Dothan, Alabama, drove to Ozark for parties, stopped at a gas station, and they disappeared. They never made it home, and then they found their car just down the road a little bit, and they were both shot to death in the trunk of the vehicle. Yeah, apparently they had DNA, and then after all these years, a couple of years back, just actually during the time we were doing the podcast, they made an arrest of an individual named Coley McCraney, or is that his name? Oh, my brain just went wacko on me. Hold on. Yeah, McCraney, yeah. So, Coley McCraney. And he's claiming, oh, yeah, I met him at the gas station. We talked for a bit. We had sex, and then I took off. Like, that's even remotely... Like, they never even knew each other. And that's just what happened. Give me a break. So it says, family will testify. Yeah, we were just saying that. District Attorney Emmett Macy said they became lost searching for Midland City. Got lost, then called her mother and ordered her to come home. I don't see the dog still. I'll just put this over here. It doesn't matter. All right. Emmett Macy said the girls became lost searching for Midland City. They got lost, then called her mother, who ordered her to come home. Yeah, that's right. She called from a gas station first, from another location, but I think it was this gas station right here. Is it this one? I think I might be flipped around. Yeah, the car was here. It's just right up the road. Yeah, right there. At this gas station, they pulled in, and they were ordered to go. Your mother was like, yeah, you got to come home. And they're at this gas station here. And this lady says that she gave them directions and saw them drive away, which seems contradictory to what we heard yesterday. So let's just go through this then. Mud will tell the story, Macy said. Victims' jeans were covered in mud. Massey said girls were forced into the car and shot once each. The only place mud was in the car was in the driver's side floor, indicating the killer drove the car to Herring Avenue, where police found it. So he must have taken them somewhere that was muddy, killed them, put them in the trunk. Then the reason there's mud on it, because he was with them in the muddy area, he transferred mud into the driver's side as he drove them. So the girls were forced into the car and shot once each. The only place mud was in the car was in the driver's side floor, indicating the killer drove the car to Herring Avenue, where police found it. Macy said in 2019, police called McCraney to submit DNA that conclusively proves that McCraney's semen was on Miss Beasley, who is charged with raping her. Macy suggests McCraney parked car, then ran about a half-mile home. Yeah, well, here's the thing. This is where he lived. Look at this. So there's the gas station right here, right? And then right here is where the car was found, but he lived right here at one point. So that's probably the house they're talking about. McCraney lived right here. So he goes to the gas station, abducts them, takes them somewhere where it's marshy, then drops the car off here, because he doesn't want to put it too close to his own home. And after he drops the car off, he goes that way. Now, I can't remember which direction the car was facing. I think it was facing this way, so it was pointing in that direction. So there are muddy areas. Like I put these little blue marks. Those are places of water that I had filled in with a plane. And so these are all places just near where the car was found that it could have been. Like there's marshy and muddy there, ponds over here, things like that. Massey suggests McCraney parked car, then ran the 0.5 miles. Defense attorney David Harrison now speaking to the juries. Harrison claims that a witness saw flashers on a car and claims they saw another car and later saw the victim's car had been moved. McCraney voluntarily gave DNA sample. Harrison, Ozark police used Gestapo, so this is the defense attorney, used Gestapo tactics on McCraney following his arrest. Police put McCraney in a cell with former death row inmate trying to get a confession, but it didn't work. Harrison said police will testify that McCraney moved a few days after the murders. He moved only a few miles away. Well, it's still not right there, right? Harrison claimed McCraney was a 23-year-old player who got into the car with the victims, chatting with the girls, then had sex and returned home. So his defense attorney is saying, oh, Coley McCraney was just a player, you know, like he got in the car and started chatting it up and then had sex with one of the girls and then he went home. Is that even remotely believable here? The defense attorney said as a truck driver, McCraney was not aware of murders when they occurred. He said, pay attention to lots of assumptions that prosecutors will use. He also said McCraney had sex but did not kill them. Paperboy is going to do what he did back then, tell the news. And so there's a paperboy who says he saw a police car next to, I think it was J.B. Beasley's vehicle. Some objections by the state over Mr. Harrison presenting this case rather than giving an opening statement. Judge Fillmore called for lunch breaking. Court will resume at 1:30. So now the court is back in session. I mean, is this interesting at all for you guys? I'm just asking because I know some of you probably haven't heard of this, but just think about it like it's a DNA case that was solved after, I think, 24 years, and it was one that we did a podcast on. Okay. I mean, it's a lot easier to get through, too, because it's kind of like this is just somebody they were updating as they went, so it doesn't have every single detail, but it gives you the broad strokes, right? Okay, court is back in session after that first break. The prosecutors called Mike Roberts, Tracy's stepfather, so the stepfather of Tracy Hollett. So Mr. Roberts confirmed that Tracy had a curfew for 11:30 p.m. Mr. Roberts said that Tracy and JB left their home at around 10 p.m. on July 31st, 1999. JB, I think one of them worked, and then they went to these parties. JB was supposed to spend the night with Tracy that night and attend church the next morning with the family. Roberts claimed that he went out looking for the girls on August 1st, 1999, so the next day. He said he scanned parking lots and roads for the car. Tracy's stepfather recounted the moment when Ozark police officer told him that both girls were dead. He broke down at the news. Defense attorney Andrew Scarborough began cross-examination. He asked if Tracy's curfew was extended the night of the murders. Mr. Robert recalled the phone call Tracy's mother received from her telling her family that they had gotten lost. Scarborough confirmed that Mr. Roberts saw JB twice. Scarborough confirmed that Mr. Roberts saw JB twice the night she died. Once when she came by their house to get something out of Tracy's room, and again when her and Tracy came home after Tracy's shift at J.C. Penney's. There you go. Mr. Roberts said that his wife, Carol, started calling hospitals at about 5:30 a.m. August 1st, 1999. Tracy called her private line rather than home line when she called her parents the night of the murders. JB and Tracy were meant to go to a party near Headland. Scarborough asked if Mr. Roberts had any concerns about Tracy hanging out with JB. He shook his head. No, despite only having met JB in person on July 30th, 1999. Now, so he had only just met her one time prior. Scarborough returned to the fact that Tracy called the private line, meaning the phone in Tracy's bedroom. Patty Rutland, Simpson JB's former dance teacher, is called to the stand. I think she was basically like the mother of JB. I think JB Beasley lived with Miss Rutland, if I remember correctly. Miss Simpson explained her relationship with JB. She knew JB as a dance student, an employee, and a good friend. The defense did not question Mrs. Simpson, and the state called Andrew Hurst, a co-worker of Tracy Hollett, to the stand. Ethan Massey asked when the last time Mrs. Simpson saw JB. She responded that she had seen her the night before and asked her to go to the beach with her and her husband. JB declined, saying that she was going to celebrate her birthday. Scarborough brought up the fact that Hurst claimed Tracy said they were to go to several parties that night and that Tracy did not want to go. Not because she didn't want to go to the parties, according to Hurst, but because she was tired after a long week. Hurst testified that Tracy and JB had plans to attend a party that night. He said he walked Tracy past JB's car and to her own car as they left J.C. Penney that night. So this is a friend that knew what they were going to be doing. He said that she saw her, he said that she knew her because they both worked in the men's department at J.C. Penney's together. He said he did not, before July 31st, he said he did not, something I'm not sure what they're wording here. He said he did not, JB, before July 31st, when she came into the store to talk to Tracy. I don't know what that was supposed to say there. Defense attorney David Harrison questioned William. He asked if Williams was intending to meet Tracy and JB that night. He said that he was. They were going to meet the girls on their way home. Williams said that JB and Tracy called him from Headland while he was at a field party. So I think that's when they went to this other gas station. I think it was I can't remember the one with the little green shit. Williams said that JB and Tracy called him from Headland. That's right. Where is that? Let me go to that part up on here. But see, here we are again, you guys. I'm reading, and it just goes. Yeah, so I think it was right here. There you go. At this gas station right here. That's where the calls were from. And they were calling, I think, because they were lost. So they came all the way up from Dothan, is down in this area. They drove up here, and they wanted to go to a party that was way over here, I believe. I mean, this entire thing here is for that case. All of these colors and pins and everything. Hurst testified that Tracy and JB had plans to attend a party that night. He said he walked Tracy past JB's car and to her own car as they left J.C. Penney. He said that she knew her because they both worked in the men's department. Defense attorney David Harrison questioned Williams. He asked him if Williams was intending to meet Tracy and JB that night. He said that he was. They were going to meet the girls on their way home. Thanks, Kami Nielsen. Williams said that JB and Tracy called him from Headland when he was at a field party. Wade Williams, a friend of Tracy, was called to the stand by the prosecution. So here's another friend. William called Tracy's private line several times that night to ensure she was okay, since she never met up with him. Harrison also noted that William's mother got a phone call from a girl around 1:56 p.m. He was not sure if that was Tracy or not. William said that Tracy was supposed to meet him at 11:30 p.m., but he and his friend went to his house. They then went to Shooters, a nightclub. So they were supposed to meet up, but they went to these different places. Tracy asked if they could stop by the party and say hi to the boys they were going to meet and extending her curfew. Mrs. Roberts said that she could stop for about 5 minutes and then she needed to be home. She testified that she didn't let Tracy extend her curfew. The prosecution called Carol Roberts, Tracy's mother, to the stand. She recounted the night the girls were murdered. She said that she heard Tracy's phone ringing. Her youngest son answered and brought her the phone. Hey, thanks everybody. Thanks Cammie Nielsen, Cindy J, Crystal S, and Bama Forever's reading fee, along with the reading fee of Crystal S, Cindy J, and Cammie Nielsen. All right. Yeah, definitely need the reading fees. Not that I need them. It's just that it absolutely slows everything down because there's nothing moving on the screen. It's just me. But hopefully it's sounding. I think it's pretty easy to follow. It's we're already 2/3 of the way this one, and then we just have today's to do, and then we'll move on to a case that was solved that we just covered a few weeks ago. Or a month ago or so, and then we'll get on to the last part, which is the husband of the hell's her name? Melanie Gibb, the person I loathe the most in the entire case. I don't know why that is, but it is. Thank you, Kathy Freidenmakers, or Freidenmaker, not makers. God, that was stupid. Thanks, Three Boys Mom.
Reading fund _basic generous.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks everybody. Scarborough question, where were we? Right here. On the phone call, Tracy said they never made it to the party, saying they wound up in Ozark, so they must have got lost. The girls got directions from 2 women. See, this is where it gets kind of crazy right here. So when they were at this gas station right here, actually not that one, this one. So they're at this gas station. When they're at that gas station, the girls got directions from 2 women and said that they would be home soon. She also asked if JB could spend the night and go to church with them in the morning. Scarborough look how innocent and just 2 girls driving around trying to go to a party or something. Scarborough questioned Mrs. Roberts. He asked if she had known that JB and Tracy had planned to hang out July 31st. She said she did not know until she had gotten off work. The girls had been together the night before. Mrs. Roberts said that Tracy usually worked from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. and came home to change out of her dress clothes. She recalled the moments she found out what had happened to Tracy. Miss Roberts explained that she called Flowers Hospital in search for her daughter. Mrs. Roberts explained that Tracy probably called her private line in the hope that her mother would answer over her stepdad. Scarborough asked how long the phone call Mrs. Roberts had gotten from her daughter was. She testified that it was only about 5 minutes.
She heard only one other person in the background of the call. JB, as Tracy asked her for, it was JB as Tracy asked her for more change. Scarborough brought a statement that Mrs. Roberts had made to investigators that she had been concerned about Tracy spending time with JB. Mrs. Roberts testified that she does not remember saying that. She said that she would not have let Tracy go if she was concerned about her hanging out with JB. Tracy's mother testified that she had known JB for a couple of months before the murders. She had no concerns with Tracy hanging out with her and said that she was a sweet girl. Roberts said she was aware that a party was taking place out in the country and Tracy and JB were going to go for a short time. Scarborough returned the morning after the murders. Tracy's mother said that she called Flowers Hospital before her husband went out to look for the girls. After her return home, they called the police. Scarborough asked if she called John White, Dothan police chief, and she said she did not. So that's probably like they're trying to head off the defense is going to try to make this a conspiracy. Judge Fillmore called for a break. All right. So I think we're right near the end here. So Clark said that she went up to the front door of the store, but it was locked. So this is another lady named Clark that went to the store, but it was locked. She testified that JB approached her and asked for directions on how to get back to Dothan. And that's something we talked about on the podcast because it's pretty simple actually. If you go, you probably just would have told her drive straight down this way, and then you would take a left right here. But what we were talking about is how ridiculous the signage is here. Look at this thing. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't know what the hell I was looking at. So at this intersection, you take a left to get back to Dothan, but man, just brutal. Clark recalled that JB said that the two girls were lost. Attorney General Steve Marshall and Clark point to the exact location of where their car was parked on a screen with a photo of the Big Little store. That's the name of that store. The prosecution called Mariel Clark to the stand. She is one of the women who gave directions to JB and Tracy on July 31st, 1999. She was headed to the Big Little store in Ozark around 11:30 p.m. She testified that her and her mother were in the car together. One car was already at the store when she arrived. That's probably JB's car. Marshall asked if they had mud on their clothing, to which Clark responded no. Their clothes appeared clean when she saw them at the gas station that night. Clark left the store before the girls. Okay, so that's different than what we've heard over the years. Clark said that they were coming from a party in Headland and were trying to get home to make curfew. Clark explained that the girls went over to the payphones after their conversation. So they were like, hey, how do we get home? To Clark. And then after Clark told them how to get home, they went over to the cell phone and called, I think it was JB's mother or Tracy's mother, I guess. Clark said that they were coming from a party in Headland and were trying to get home to make curfew. Clark explained that the girls went over to the payphone after their conversation. The prosecution called Marilyn Clark, the mother of Mariel Clark, to the stand. She said that she had been working around her house and went to get a drink after 11 p.m. on July 31st, 1999. Scarborough began cross-examination. He asked her what she had done in preparation for today. So this is the defense here. Clark said that she reviewed the statement she made back in 1999. She said that the girls had on jeans and some sort of halter tops and platform shoes. Scarborough asked Marilyn Clark about the direction she gave to JB and Tracy. She clarified that the directions she gave were to Highway 231. See? I think that's exactly what we were just looking at, right? Let's see. And if it's not, then it means, I think it was 231 was ahead. See, look how crazy this is, you guys. So it's 231, but it's also 123, the same numbers in it. So 231 is also left there, but look at how there's another sign here that says 231 straight ahead. But they never made it to this part anyways, but what a ridiculous sign here. You got 231, and then 123, 123, 231 that way, but you can go 231 south that way, and yeah, pretty crazy. She clarified that the directions she gave were to Highway 231. Clark testified that she waited until she was able to hear that the girls connected with someone on the phone before they left. Marshall followed a similar line of questioning to that of Mariel Clark. Marilyn Clark testified that her daughter got out of the car to get soft drinks, but found the store locked. She said that she saw a girl approaching her daughter and overheard them asking for directions. Her daughter gave the initial directions, but Marilyn Clark explained she gave the girls landmarks to follow. Scarborough questioned Marilyn Clark about undergoing hypnosis following the statement she gave the police. She confirmed that her daughter underwent hypnosis, but that she was unaware of her statement changing after hypnosis. She had not been hypnotized since. Court has concluded for the day. Witness testimony will continue tomorrow morning. All right, so there you go. That was pretty simple, you guys. I mean, to get through a whole day of trial, don't you feel like you kind of know what they were talking about in the opening statements? And it's a crazy story, though. So I'm going to do today is also like this, but I think it's, might be somewhat long too, but it's a lot shorter than watching, 4 hours of trial. So that was day one there. And what I have to do on their site, because they do it sort of out of order, I have to go in there, take it, and copy, paste it, and then keep finding, where the segments that they put in, because they actually do it backwards. But also, it's hard to explain it. So, like, the first thing on the page is, it's at the very bottom. It's this portion, 9 o'clock to like 9:40. Then the next one up is one of these other ones, like 10, 11, onward, and then. So I have to put it all in order. So now it's in order, and we'll go through this as well. All right, you guys still with me on this? Your dulcet tones lulled me into a twilight sleep. I do have that effect. I do make people fall asleep quite a bit. All right. I'm never really sure how to take those comments. Are those passive-aggressive insults? Or are they just talking about how I make people fall asleep? Thank you, Jessica Schubach. All right, so this is going to be day number. I think this might all work out pretty well tonight, other than our early glitch. All right, this is today. Starts at 9:10 a.m. I'm not going to keep saying the time after this one. Bobby Blankenship, not Audra, retired Ozark police officer, is called to the stand by the prosecution. So this is a retired Ozark. Ooh, so now I wonder what the defense is going to try to implicate him. They sound like the Delphi YouTuber that we're so used to. Cool, Lisa Murphy. Thank you.
Reading wave, paper, ocean wave.
So the retired Ozark police officer is called to the stand by the prosecution.
cool. Well, thank you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys are so kind. Thank you, CaliGal3. Oh, we're gonna get the I think we're gonna get the avocado dance. Right? Annie later, I keep wanting to sing a song. Annie later hair down D, like it's part of da 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 da. Annie later hair down D. Ding 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 ding. Prime sector, the projector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya, gonna set ya. You would drive like an old projector. Projector is my nectar. What you're really giving that lecture. Crime collector, freak connector. Animal's gonna be a puppet detector. Fool deflector, interceptor. And I mean unexpected with a vector. That's too fast.
Sorry I'm late. For me, that is.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Oh, there's another one. In another universe, you're a nighttime adult contemporary DJ who goes by Gray Fox, and all the women swim. Oh, come on. No. I get people either hate me or they love me. There's very few people that are like, yeah, I just tolerate him. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy times out there. Hey, look at that.
In another universe, you're a nighttime adult contemporary DJ who goes by Grey Fox, and all the women swoon to sleep every night. Smiley face, open book, open book.
Oh, cool. Hey, Teresa just sent in bought one of the notebooks, so we'll definitely, and a couple other ones out there. All right, cool. So you guys are going to be on the, well, as soon as I get the pins, we'll spin for all the people on the current list. Yeah, I'll make sure all your addresses are on the screen, and then I'm just kidding. And then we'll spin, and the winner gets the other notebook. All right. Yeah. Yeah, so you get 2 notebooks and 2 pens and a stress ball. Okay? Anyways, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Here we go. So we just said Bobby Blankenship, not Audra, might be a relative somehow. Retired Ozark police officer is called to the stand by the prosecution. And then then he testified that he found the Mazda 929, that's the vehicle that they were found murdered in, at around 9 a.m. on August 1st. So the very next day, just 9 hours or so after they were at that gas station. Dale County Assistant District Attorney Emmett Massey presented a crime scene photo of the vehicle. Blankenship said that they used a baton to break the car windows and found identification belonging to J.B. Beasley. He said that they notified Dothan police after finding the ID of J.B. Defense attorney David Harrison began cross-examination of Harrison, questioned Blankenship about the patrol that took place the morning of August 1st. Blankenship stated that the police department did not leave any officers on the scene. The Ozark Police Department was notified by the Dothan Police Department that the car was not stolen and that they were looking for 2 teens. Oh yeah, you know what's crazy, you guys? They didn't even know that the girls were in the trunk for like hours here, if I remember correctly. They broke in the window, saw the ID, and just reported it missing, but really didn't leave anybody at the scene at that time. Is that crazy? Harrison claimed that due to the stated nightly patrol done by the Ozark Police Department, the car was not there prior to 9:02 a.m. on Herring Avenue. Really? So it got put there, right? Well, you don't know. I mean, when was the last car that drove by there?
her car was not there prior to 9:02 a.m. on Herring Avenue, but was there before that time. Wait, I think they wrote that wrong. Harrison claimed that due to the stated nightly patrol done by Ozark Police Department, the car was not there prior to 9:02 a.m. on Herring Avenue, but was not there before that time. What? Okay, but was not there before that time. Blankenship stated that he sat in the driver's side of the Mazda 929. Harrison alleged that the crime scene was not preserved. As Blankenship said, he did not have a list of who came in and out of the scene. Harrison asked Blankenship if he knew what time the bodies were discovered. He stated that he did not because he was not on the scene at the time. Then at 9, Harrison questioned Blankenship about the hypnosis of witnesses in the case. Blankenship stated that he had heard about witness being hypnotized. He testified that he did not order it, nor had he himself been hypnotized. And now it's Alton Miller, retired Dothan police officer. He's on the stand now. He testified that in 1999, when the murders happened, he was a juvenile officer. He spoke to the victim's family the morning they were killed, but before the bodies were found. 9:30. This is just time of the day in the court. Forget that part. He traveled to the crime scene in Ozark. Ozark police officer arrived shortly after Miller did, and they canvassed the neighborhood. There were red flags, Miller said. He observed dried blood, and the car appeared to have been driven on a dirt road. He located the release and opened the trunk, and he eased trunk trunk early, and he saw jeans. They realized the bodies were in there. The officer with him became emotional and had to be calmed. Crime tape was put around the scene. This was at 10:30. So it's pretty amazing. It took him an hour and a half to even know that the bodies were in that vehicle. He testified JB appeared to be in a fetal position. He and others went to another location that could have been the crime scene that turned out to be unrelated. He told them that Dothan Police Chief John White to go with him to notify the parents. Prosecutor Emmett Massey passes witness to defense attorney David Harrison. Miller said when he arrived at the crime scene, no officers were there. He said if Ozark secured the crime scene, which Blankenship testified happened, Miller said it would have been after him. I think they probably were more about preserving the crime scene after they found the bodies, though. Prior to that, it would just be kind of like, oh, well, here's their abandoned vehicle. Harrison asked about crime scene contamination, and Miller admits if the scene is contaminated, it could reveal inaccurate information. Miller believes there had been someone in the back seat. He indicates that if gloves are not worn, evidence could be compromised, apparently in reference to Blankenship removing wallet from the car without wearing the gloves, which happened before it had been determined to be a crime scene. Then Miller said he did not know how many people were in the scene before he left early afternoon. Miller's testimony had ended. Mark Cruz, retired lab director with the Department of Forensic Sciences, Dothan Laboratory, is next. He said in 1999 he worked with the Department of Forensic Sciences at Dothan Laboratory. He stated his credentials and the types of education and training. Cruz testified that he worked the crime scene as a member of the violent crime unit. He stated that he had people helping him on the scene. They searched the area with metal detectors. Photographs were taken of the scene, and they called a member of the Montgomery lab to come view the scene. Then The prosecution presented ballistic evidence that was given to the forensic team back in 1999. Cruz explained the evidence, reading the case and item numbers, how the envelopes are sealed and tagged. I'm glad we don't have to read that part. He went on examining the envelopes, opening them one by one and pulling out the projectiles out to show the jury. One of the envelopes contained a cartridge casing. Cruz testified that the casing was found on the jeans of one of the victims. So yeah, inside the trunk, the casing was just sitting on top of the jeans of one of the victims. Cruz stated that his team was told that gunshots were heard near the scene. He walked through other evidence he examined at the scene, including blood, red-brown stains found in the car. You know, the sick part about it is they were taken somewhere else, assaulted, because there's mud and stuff. It could have just been in that area that they were chased and then brought back to the car, and then they were executed whilst in the trunk itself. Like, they weren't put into the trunk after they were shot. They were in the trunk, then they were shot. I think that's what they say here. One of the envelopes contained a cartridge casing. Cruz testified that the casing was found on the jeans of one of the victims. Cruz stated that his team was told that gunshots were heard near the scene. He walked through other evidence he examined at the scene, including blood, red-brown stains found in the car, and clothes in the back of the vehicle. Judge Fillmore called for a break. And then Harrison began cross-examination. He asked Cruz what time he arrived on the scene, to which Cruz said around 6 p.m. August 1st, 1999. Cruz stated that a log is usually kept of what has been inside a crime scene. Harrison emphasized the importance of preserving the crime scene. Harrison provided the report that Cruz made of people who were at the crime scene. Cruz read from that report. He stated both in the report and for the court that sketches and photographs had been made of the crime scene by members of the Ozark Police Department, ABI, and the Dothan Police Department. Harrison presents a computer-generated diagram of the crime scene. Cruz stated that these are made from all the available information gathered at the scene. Harrison pointed out that the reports made by the forensic expert included that the Mazda 929 was a two-door vehicle rather than a four-door. Cruz claimed he does not know where the person got that information or if the computer program made a mistake. Let's see. 1314 Highway 123 Ozark is presented by Cruz as the secondary scene. Oh, really? Oh, shit. Let's go see where that is. 1314. So this is where the original scene was. Highway 123 North Ozark. Man, this is, for me, this is pretty interesting. Let's see. Let's see if we have a pin here. Oh man, it was close. This is where we had. That's crazy. Is that really? Oh man. In our podcast, we kind of had this other area down here because there was a pond here and there was this something going on at this property here. That's pretty damn close, you guys. I don't know if you remember, but look at this building back here. And there was something about that building, but it's so interesting now that we look at the address they just gave us just right up the road on the same road right there. Wow. 1314 Highway 123 North Ozark. Yep. Hey, Billy Juliana, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, that's great. If you watch the podcast that we did, that's pretty wild. It's on that one random road that goes this way. I might have to tell Lorden about that. He'd probably be like, whoa. Yeah, we did a whole bunch of stuff on this area right here. There was some reason for it. Possible shooting site even. But man, how far is that? Is that only... It's like a mile. Yeah. Thank you, Kubi, as in Kubi. Can't really... That's it, man. You've got your a unique name there. Yeah, cool. Let's see. Including that Mazda. Harrison pointed out that a document in the case file had an address on... All right. 11 a.m., 13 Ozark is presented by Cruz as the secondary scene. He stated that it was a residential area. Thank you, Travelin' Teresa. Always lurking. Not much of a chatter. Do you travel a lot, Travelin' Teresa? I mean, it's just a guess. Harrison pointed out that a document in the case file had an address on Pleasant Springs Drive, which was not classified as a crime scene.
Winking face. Not much of a chatter. Thanks for updates on cold cases.
Well, thank you. Cruz stated that it was part of the investigation materials and that on page where that address appears had a generated picture of the Herring Avenue scene. Cruz read from his report that the back of the car was located 141.1 feet from James Street. So let's see how accurate I mean, it's pretty obvious in this case, but I guess we can do exactly the distance. There's James Street. That's 142 feet. 142 right there. So, yep, I guess I can move that a little bit. Darn it. And I think when you go down to that spot and you turn to the right, there's a memorial right at exactly where that's that line that I just drew right there. So it's right at that memorial. So there we go. Really, Traveling Teresa? That's crazy. That's cool though, if it's true. Time travel? Are you kidding me? We've got a time traveler here? From the green forests of the Pacific Northwest, I bid you all good evening or good morning as the case may be. Oh, tonight, everybody, we have on Travelin' Teresa, who is claiming to be a time traveler, but used a motorcycle and a tent. It's absolutely unbelievable, everybody. Tune in after the break to hear all about it, everybody. And there we go. There we go. You can use that as your ringtone. All right. All right. Oh, there was loud noise there. What was that? You're stoned? But you're a time traveler, Traveling Teresa. That's crazy. So let me try to understand this part right here. 1314 Highway 123 North Ozark is presented by Cruz as the secondary scene. He stated that it was a residential area. Harrison pointed out that a document in the case file had an address on Pleasant Spring Drive. Let's see what... I know that... I've seen that name before. How do they spell it? Did I spell that wrong? No. Yeah, I don't think it's there anymore. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't understand that part. Which was not classified as a crime scene. Crews stated that it was part of the investigative material and that on the page where that address appears has a generated picture of the Herring Avenue scene. That's the scene where the car was found, Herring Avenue. Crews read from his report that the back of the car was located 141.1 feet from James Street at the intersection of James and Herring. He testified that the documents are a collaborative effort. Harrison asked if Crews had any first-hand evidence that Coley McCraney... let's see, where does it say? Harrison asked if Crews had any first-hand evidence that Coley McCraney killed JB and Tracy. Crews testified that he did not. Harrison followed up by asking if Crews found any first-hand evidence that McCraney raped JB or Tracy, and he said, I did not. Harrison pointed out that the mistakes in the report of the car doors and the address were handwritten and not a typo. Gregory Wanger, retired forensic pathologist. I don't know if this is what the deal is with that 1314, but at least it's on, it is close to where we were looking at. But I'm not sure if that's a mistake or they're saying a typo. The families of J.B. Beasley and Tracy Hallett stepped out of the courtroom. The prosecution called Dr. Gregory Wanger to the stand. He walked the jury through what forensic pathology is and his education. Wanger testified that he was on call on August 1st, 1999. He was paged to come to the scene in Ozark. He detailed that there was a single vehicle and 2 deceased individuals in the trunk of the car. This is the medical examiner. He's going to show pictures and describe it. We just don't get to see it. Wanger said he did an initial examination of the bodies. The prosecution presented a photo of the car with the bodies of Tracy Hallett and J.B. Beasley. One of the images showed the shell casing that was found on the jeans of one of the girls. Wanger testified that he performed the autopsies on August 1st, 1999, the day after they were found. He explained that an autopsy begins with an external examination followed by an internal examination. Wanger said that after the autopsy, he determined that Tracy died from an intermediate gunshot wound to the head. A summary of what was found during the autopsy was presented. Wanger stated that the entry wound was in the temple area. He explained that the route of the bullet. Wanger said that they also found powder stippling on the back of her hand, so she probably put her hand up near where the gunshot was fired from, or I don't know, it's kind of weird, like, sort of like this almost, it's on the back of her hand. He explained the route of the bullet. Wanger said that they also found powder stippling on the back of her hand, indicating that the distance from the weapon to the skin was around 2 feet, right? But it wasn't any on her face, I guess. He said that the powder was mostly on... Okay, so it was on her head. On the wound, Wanger testified that her hand was not outstretched, but close to her head when the gun was fired, right? Like, I think it was kind of like this. Like you're sort of like, you're kind of backing away, trying to... And you put your hand there, and then he shot right through all of it. A photo of Tracy's hand with the powder stippling was shown to the jury. Wenger approached the monitor to better explain how the powder would have ended up on her hand in the particular pattern. He said that he lifted a print of the pattern during autopsy. Pictures of the left hand that did not have powder on it was also shown as a comparison. A photo of Tracy Hollett's face had been shown to the jury. Oh boy. They also presented a picture of her shoes, which had mud and a bit of blood on them. Wenger said that he did the autopsy at 9 a.m. on August 2nd, 1999. A photo of Tracy on the autopsy table was presented to the jury. He pointed to the clean wound in order to show the entrance and exit wound. Wenger provided gruesome testimony about how the bullet traveled through the body. Wenger detailed that Tracy was wearing, the night she died, she had slips of paper with names and phone numbers on them with her. The clothes were dried and bagged. Wenger testified that there was a toxicology report on Tracy. He explained the tiny amount of alcohol that was found was due to the production of alcohol during decomposition. There was no other drugs or alcohol present in her system. Wenger said that the autopsy of Tracy took him 2 hours. Judge Fillmore called for lunch. Wagner will continue at 1:30 p.m. Court resumed and Wagner began walking through the autopsy. Shouldn't they have done the autopsy before lunch, you guys? I mean, really? Court resumed and Wagner began... now it's Wagner. I don't know if it's supposed to be Wagner or Wanger, because they had W-A-N-G-E-R before. Walked through the autopsy of J.B., testified that she had an intermediate range gunshot wound to the face. Photos of J.B.'s body during autopsy were presented to the jury. He pointed out the gunshot wound and the powder stippling that was also present on Tracy's body. He was unable to determine exactly where her hand was like he was for Tracy. Wagner described the trajectory of the bullet, pointing out the entry and exit wound. He said she died immediately due to the brain stem injury. A photo was shown of JB's jeans where mud could be seen, the lower parts of her pants and shoes. Another photo was shown, a close-up of JB's hands to show the powder pattern. She was killed instantly, Wagner testified. He told the jury that JB was wearing, at the time of her death, the sweater and undergarments that JB wore were transferred to another lab for examination. Wagner put on gloves and was presented several envelopes containing items of clothing that Mrs. Beasley was wearing the night of the murder. He testified that the clothing was in the same condition as they were in 1999, except for the small pieces of fabric removed by forensics for testing. Now, let's see. Wagner held up the top that Mrs. Beasley was wearing to the jury, pointed out the blood stains. He then showed them the underwear, pointing out that material has been removed for testing. A bra was presented next, indicating where bits of cloth had been removed. Assistant Attorney General Jimmy Thomas presented Wagner with the sexual assault test kit that was on J.B. Wagner. You can have consensual or non-consensual intercourse. Both can produce or not produce injuries. There were no injuries in this case. The summary findings during the autopsy was shown to the jury while Wagner read from his report. No bullet was recovered in the body during autopsy, according to Wagner. Rigor mortis had reached its peak and already, I don't know what that means. Already too something to go away. Wagner said he had explained bodily changes that happened after death. He said that there is no way to give an exact time of death, especially given the heat of the day the girls were found. No alcohol or drugs were found in Miss Beasley's system. Wagner explained again that a small amount of alcohol will be present in the blood as a product of decomposition. Defense attorney David Harrison began cross-examination now of the medical examiner. Wagner said that he could not determine whether or not sex was consensual through the autopsy. The evidence you've given to the jury today is what happened and not who done it, Harrison said. Harrison said that even though McCraney's DNA was found in Miss Beasley, Wagner could not testify that McCraney committed these crimes. Not with my examination alone, Wagner responded. So the defense is getting some of the right answers that they want to hear, like nobody can say for certain at this point. The thing is he's admitting that he had sex with J.B. Beasley, just that it was consensual, randomly at a gas station when they were supposed to be home. That just doesn't make any sense, I think that's why they're saying she wasn't given an extended curfew. So why would then JB start talking? I mean, that would mean you had sex in like world record time. I mean, it's like, oh, hey, hey, how's it going? I've never seen you before in my life. Oh, you want to have sex? Yeah, let's go. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Can you prove it didn't happen though, Gray? It does sometimes. Really? And okay, so a miraculous event happens where this guy just randomly runs into girls, and one of them's going to have sex with him that quickly out of nowhere. And then another miracle happens that some other psycho right out, it's just like the Delphi case, that another psycho right after that killed him. Right? Does that make any sense? So no alcohol or drugs were found in Beasley's system. Wagner explained again that a small amount of okay, we already did that. Harrison said that even though McCraney's DNA was found in Miss Beasley, Wagner could not testify that McCraney committed these crimes. Prosecutor qualified the witness as an expert. They brought in Catherine Richard, a forensic scientist. She recounted receiving a phone call from Ozark Police on August 1st, 1999, asking for assistance with a murder. She described microscopic ballistic examination. She testified about going to a second scene along Alabama Highway 123 to see if there was evidence there. Is this? Oh, did he say 123? Yeah, here's 123 right there. Oh yeah, and then 123 goes down. Yeah, so there it is. There's my stomach's just going. She testified about going to a second scene along Alabama Highway 123 to see if there was evidence there. Richard read from her report, stating that the bullets were fired from the same gun. So both the, one weapon killed both girls. She described the location of shell casing in approximately to the victims inside the car trunk. Richard said that Miss Beasley was shot first and Miss Hallett afterwards. Witnesses was passed to David Harrison, and he is questioning the validity of paperwork. It is easy to make a mistake, isn't it? Harrison asked. Richard said yes. Judge Fillmore called for a break. Massey asked the witness to take their credentials. Massey asked the witness to state their credentials. Hitchcock stated that he worked on the case. So this is another person, a forensic biologist. He worked on the case of JB and Tracy. He was presented with his lab reports for the case. Hitchcock examined the vaginal swabs taken during autopsy. Hitchcock said that the swabs taken from Miss Beasley tested positive for semen. There was nothing found on the swabs from Miss Hallett. He then sent the swabs for DNA testing. Hitchcock testified that semen was also found on Miss Beasley's bra. The cuttings from the bra that was sent for DNA testing was presented as evidence. The sweater belonging to Miss Beasley was also tested for semen, for which it came back positive and blood. The witness stated that he observed that there was dirt inside and outside the lower parts of Miss Beasley's jeans. Harrison began questioning Hitchcock. He asked, so this is the defense now. He asked if the evidence proved that the sex was non-consensual. Hitchcock said it did not. Harrison followed up with a question about the evidence proving McCraney murdered these girls. Hitchcock said it did not. Catherine, so he's getting the answers he wants to hear here. Catherine McGeehan is also a forensic biologist. Assistant District Attorney Jimmy Thomas asked the witness to establish her credentials. She spoke of her career as a forensic scientist and explained how DNA analysis works. McGeehan stated that any particular piece of evidence is tested twice in order to ensure duplicate results. Let's see. The witness read through her report stating that the evidence she was given was sent to by Hitchcock for DNA testing. McKeon stated the extracts from DNA samples were sent to a lab in Mobile. At the time, no possible donors were found. McKeon said he received an oral swab sample from Johnny Barentine. That's right, that was this guy that apparently was at that store too. And 5 other individuals. McCraney was not among those. She developed DNA profiles from the stains on JB and tested them again against the oral swab samples she received. I excluded all of the individuals in this report, McKeon said. The witness restated the DNA was sent to Mobile for further analysis. That report was submitted to McGeehan. McGeehan explained a chart of DNA analysis finding to the jury. Defense attorney Andrew Scarborough asked the witness if the DNA were McCraney's, would it prove that he was raped and killed the teens? She said it would not because they could not tell if the sex was consensual or not. Barry Tucker, commander of Internal Affairs, Houston County Sheriff's Office, former investigator with ABI, he said Attorney General Steve Marshall began questioning Tucker, was a state investigator with the ABI in 1999, called to assist with the investigation. Tucker testified that he observed the Mazda 929 and that the photos were taken as part of the investigation. A photo of the car was presented to the jury. Marshall asked if seeing a car parked on the side of the road was unusual or a crime scene. Tucker said a car, even with the bolo that was out for a missing car, did not make that car a crime scene. Marshall asked at what point the car became a crime scene. When the trunk was open, Tucker testified. Judge Fillmore dismissed the court. Tucker will resume testimony Friday morning. Okay, there you go. So that's a pretty good way to just get through the trial, right? I mean, we're done with part 1 and 2. It sounds like the defense is getting a lot of the stuff that they want said out loud, like, oh, we can't tell that it wasn't consensual, but it's absurd to believe that it's consensual. Because then you'd have to believe that even after such a rare event like that, 2 girls, both of them which were supposed to be home presently, immediately decides, oh, I'll just go have sex with a random stranger. And then after that, some other wacko killer shows up. But they're going to probably claim it was some racist cop who saw JB with a black man, because that's what he is, and decided to exact revenge on him. How much you want to bet that that's what the argument will be? Because it's that town, the Ozark, is just, everybody there is a conspiracy person. I mean, the jury is likely going to go, oh, yeah. they're probably defaulted on the side of something crazy happened here. By the way, doesn't that look like a sock right there? A shoe? Like look. Man, that's got to be what that is. And look, there's another footprint right there. That's amazing. See, there's even a little shoe, and I'm going to do a whole show on that. Now, let's do overlays. Let me get a shoe and overlay it on that. I'll send it into Ashley Banfield. She'll probably put me on. Yeah, it does kind of look like a sock, doesn't it? But the reading juice dried up, you guys. It just yeah, I found Bigfoot. All right, let me get to the next story. Oh yeah, Megan McDonald. So we just went over this the other day. This was that one. I think it's up in. I can't remember if it was Massachusetts or where it was, but. Okay, what was it? This is the one where she went to a party or her friend's house, but she stayed outside, and then they're like, "Come in." She goes, "Nah, I got these other friends across town I'm going to go to." And remember how then her car was driving around, and there was another vehicle following at this apartment complex, and then she was found murdered on the side of a road somewhere. That was New York. That's right, New York. Okay. So here's how that story went back then. Let me open this up.
You've heard the name Megan McDonald. Some of her friends were in. We know that she went to the HSBC Bank in the town of Walsh.
Hold on, I gotta turn it up.
In the next time plot that we know, at approximately 7 o'clock later that night, she pulled up to the area of Greenway Terrace where there was a party here. Some of her friends were inside. She parked her car on the roadway, and several of her friends approached her vehicle, and they had a conversation. During the course of that conversation, those two friends, advised her to come inside of the party, at which point she declined and advised that she was going to hang out with her Middletown friends. And then she proceeded to leave the area of Greenway Terrace and proceed to the city of Middletown. Those individuals then went back inside of the party. This party is very, very significant. Later that night, after she hung out with her friend in the city of Middletown, she hung out with that friend from approximately 7:30 p.m. till approximately midnight. She told her friend that she was going to leave, that she had to wake up early to go to work the next day at the American Cafe, and she ultimately came back to this location at Greenway Terrace. She pulled up to this party, at which point two different friends exited the party and observed Megan. But it is very interesting that she came back to this location considering her new apartment was on the other side of town. That friend had a short conversation with Megan. There appeared to be nobody inside of the vehicle with her at that time, but she did advise that she had arrangements to meet other individuals. Megan then left this location, and she was last observed traveling down Cindy Lane here from Greenway Terrace. But Megan was very familiar with this neighborhood. She had a lot of friends in this neighborhood, including individuals that were at the party. She grew up in this neighborhood until she moved to her new apartment approximately 2 weeks prior to the homicide. After her stop on Greenway Terrace, her vehicle, as well as either an older model, a Honda Civic hatchback, dark in color, or a hatchback style vehicle with an extremely loud sound system. That vehicle is observed following her into Kensington Manor by a resident here. Both vehicles circle the parking lot 2 times, and then that resident advised that she did not see the vehicle after that point.
Oh, that's funny. Travel and Teresa just sent me an email with her images on a bike, a motorcycle, and riding around, but somebody else with her same name was sending me stuff about a case, so I said, hey, I can't have time to read all these, but then I realized, wait, this is Traveling Teresa here. She's got these pictures on a motorcycle. She's telling the truth, you guys. She's riding around on motorcycles.
Until Megan's vehicle was ultimately recovered on March 17th, 2003, when she said, that's the vehicle I saw the night of the homicide, when it was being followed by a dark color, either Honda Civic
How did she watch the show?
hatchback, dark in color, or hatchback style vehicle with a very loud sound system. We tried to evaluate the significance of each location. Each location has a purpose. It's not just random. Kensington Matter has a very, very important purpose. This specific location. We're not going to get further in why, but
Yeah, I'm going to move it down.
Resident. This location, as you can see, is extremely rural. It's desolate. You have to know exactly.
So her body was found over in this area.
Where this dirt path is. We feel that is very significant in the course of throughout the course of this investigation. We tried to determine the significance of that. One of the two individuals that were present with her that night was actually granted permission to utilize this location to hang out with friends, and he was here numerous times in the past. This location is approximately 7 miles of the location where she was last.
I think we actually I found that spot, right? Where was it? I wonder if I found it that night for sure, but now I don't know if I still have it. Yeah, might have been right there. I remember there was another road that was going off to the side, but I feel like I lost that pin that I had there. Could be this one though. I don't think so. I remember finding it and seeing exactly where it was, but I think I lost it.
Observed in the Greenway Terrace area, and then approximately 7 miles from her new apartment, which was located on Karen Drive.
Yeah, but we hit one of those other lulls again tonight, Revengeance. We had the good reading stuff going on, and then it just went. Speaks about you, all you do. Oh, really? What did she say, Douglas? Anything good? She must say, oh, God, he's always so grumpy. He's always...
So, why didn't she go back to her new apartment? We believe that she did not want to go back to that location because she did not want to bring the individual that she was with, the individual in the back seat, back to that location. Something happened here. An argument ensued at this location. Working with the FBI behavioral analysis unit, they described what they believe to be a narcissistic injury that the suspect received from Megan, at which point that individual snapped, completely lost his composure, and conducted a blunt force trauma to Megan, causing her death. Megan was ultimately killed in the driver's seat of her vehicle by the individual in the back seat, and then dumped here in the field and left here until she was found several days later. The individuals then, in a frenzy, left this location and then drove the vehicle back to the Kensington Manor parking lot, and then quickly fled the scene from there.
Well, that one got some resolution today, you guys. So here we go. Where is this? Gotta go to the OBS recordings. Huh? Yeah, I've seen people refer to that narcissistic injury. It's yeah, I think it's something like that. I've even looked it up. Narcissistic injury and rage are an expression of perceived slight against self-image. For example, a narcissistic injury, like, when somebody calls you stupid or something like that, might occur when you unintentionally criticize a person. Well, that's pretty intentional. with narcissistic personality disorder because they didn't respond to a situation the way you think they should have.
Right. Like when somebody says, God, that was stupid, and then they think it was not rude. Yeah, that would be like, wow, that does seem... Yeah, you know what, you guys? That's who I am. Holy crap, you nailed it again. Yeah. Let's see. Where is Traveling Teresa? There you are. Yeah, I thought you, when you said, I had all these emails from her, but there was another Teresa that was telling me about a crime. So I was like, hey, I can't read all these. But then I would realize, wait, no, you're just sending me, you're Traveling Teresa, not the other one. Let's see. So let me show you some of these pictures before we get to that video. Let me. I can show them, right? I figured I can show them. There you go. Look at that, man. That's pretty hardcore. There's a tent, the motorcycle, boom. Must be a Harley or something, right? Awesome. That's awesome. Let me go to the, where was the other one? And one of your emails didn't have anything in it. It's blank. Tell my dad's stroke in August last year. I traveled the U.S. by motorcycle. So she hasn't been able to do it as much lately, but...
Lurking, ocean wave.
Hey, thanks, Tony Lee. Yeah, we kind of had a long lull there, but appreciate it. Well, it's good for you, though, Traveling Teresa. Okay, I was looking for the recording here. Here we go. Hey, you like how I recorded that? A TV inside of a TV. It's awesome. This would be better, though. There we go. The legend, Traveling Teresa. We'll have to do something with her motorcycle and have it crush criminals.
Good afternoon. My name is Major Paul DePorto. I'm the Troop F commander here in Troop F. I want to thank you all for attending today as we announce that an arrest has been made in the 20-year-old Megan McDonald homicide. Before I begin, I would like to introduce who's standing up here with me. From the McDonald family, Megan's mother, Elizabeth McDonald, Megan's sister, Karen Whalen, Megan's brother-in-law, husband to Karen,
Yeah, cool, right?
James Whalen, Megan's brothers, Sean and Stephen McDonald, along with their family attorney, John Beatty. I want to personally thank the McDonald family for their courage and perseverance over the past 20 years. This has been a long and windy road, but you never gave up hope and are truly inspirational. From the New York State Police, I have New York State Police Troop F Captain of the BCI, Joe Kolick. I have Captain Peter Sorigliano. He's the Zone 2 commander that covers Orange County. I have Investigator Michael Corletta, who's the case agent on this homicide case. From the FBI, Senior Supervisory Resident Agent of the FBI Hudson Valley Safe Streets Task Force, Jose Charias. From the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the Sheriff himself, Paul Arteta. From the City of Middletown Police, Chief John Owanchu. And also present with us here today are members from the New York City Police Department Detectives Endowment Association. We are glad they're here with us today, and we truly appreciate their support. I want to personally thank these agencies for their extraordinary support in this case over the past 20 years. This was a true team effort. I want to also thank the countless other police agencies around the United States, which is too many to name, who have assisted us during this long investigation. I also want to express my appreciation and gratitude to the Orange County community who have assisted considerably in this investigation. And lastly, a special thank you to all of you, the media, our allies, who have worked with us as partners over the years and kept this case in the spotlight with the mutual goal of solving the case and bringing closure to Megan's family. A little bit about Megan. At the time of her death, Megan was working as a waitress at the Galleria Mall in the town of Walk Hill, and was also attending SUNY Orange Community College. She had recently moved into a new apartment and was eager to start her life as a young adult. Megan was an outgoing, generous young woman with a bubbly personality and an infectious smile. Megan was very, very popular, and many people were proud to call her a friend. On March 14, 2003, family and friends of Megan McDonald were attempting to get in contact with her as her whereabouts was unknown. She was not at her apartment, she was not answering her phone, and she failed to show up for a 12 o'clock shift at the American Cafe in the Galleria Mall. Throughout the course of the day, concern from loved ones led to panic. The following day, March 15th, 2003, Megan's family's worst nightmare became a reality when her lifeless, beaten body was discovered abandoned on a dirt road off of Bowser Road in the town of Walk Hill. The official cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma to her head. Megan's 1991 white Mercury Sable was subsequently located on March 17, 2003 in the Kensington Manor parking lot. A neighbor canvass revealed that her vehicle was observed there on the morning of March 14, 2003. State police investigators early on had a vision and a foresight to secure, gather, and test certain items of evidence in this investigation. With the utilization of modern technology, that foresight has paid off tremendously. This has been a tremendous team effort. From the day Megan's body was discovered and throughout the years, we have aggressively worked this case and have never given up. Yesterday, the New York State Police obtained an arrest warrant for Edward V. Holley, 42 years old, from the town of Lilyana, New York, charging him with murder in the second degree.
Yeah, you know what was kind of interesting about this is I looked up where he lived, and remember, like when we went over that video before, and it mentions how it was significant. Let's see, where is it? I think it was, yeah, how significant this Kensington Manor is, because that's where she was driving by, and then there's a car following and moving around. Well, look where he lived during that time. He lived right here. Right, that's his address where I have the pin. So he lived right there between 1999 and 2006. So right there, and that's probably why it's very significant, because he just lives right where that interaction was going on. So,
Today we executed that warrant at the Orange County Jail, where he's currently in custody.
See, you guys, I
unrelated
look stuff
charges.
up, you know? I look stuff up.
Mr. Holley was transported to Troop F headquarters. He was processed on that warrant, and he's currently being arraigned in the City of Middletown Court. Mr. Holley is a former boyfriend of Megan, and the investigation revealed that Mr. Holley had a strong motive to commit this crime. At the time of the homicide, Mr. Holley was residing at 66 Sandburg Court in the town of Walkhill.
Oh, that's the address. I didn't even hear that in there. But yeah, I looked him up on Ben Verified, and that's what his address was back then. So that's him.
At this time, Megan's sister Karen and her husband James would like to address the media.
See it? 66 Sandburg Court. Boom. Right there.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today regarding the momentous and gratifying news that an arrest has been made, and the coward who killed our beloved Megan more than 20 years ago is where he belongs, in jail, behind bars. Over the course of 20 years, Megan's family has never given up hope that this day would come, and we want to express our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to the men and women who have helped make this day a reality. We would like to thank the New York State Police for their enduring 2 decades-long commitment to ensuring that Megan's killer was arrested. Also, the FBI, Orange County Sheriff's Office, and other local law enforcement who have provided their support and expertise. We want to thank Paul DiGiacomo and the NYPD DEA's Association, whose presence we have felt and helped us continue to stand. Knowing that you have stood behind us, helping to push us forward, is something that we have felt daily. My father's brothers and sisters in blue, united with us, have helped give us the strength to continue fighting for Megan. Standing here at Troop F headquarters, it is fitting to extend our public thanks and eternal gratitude to those individuals whose unwavering commitment and support to Megan's case and to our family have made today possible. There are people that we know that have worked tirelessly over the last 20 years. We want to specifically thank Paul DeCordo, Matt Skarkas, John Javahari, Mike Corletta, and Brad Natalizio. These honorable and respectable men truly make a difference, and they make this world a better place. These men gave us hope. With them, it was always a matter of when, not if, this day would come. We have always stood with the police, and we will always stand with them. We thank them for their hard work and dedication from the very bottom of our hearts.
Today, the police gave us an answer that we have been searching for over 20 years. The monster who violently and senselessly took Megan's life now has a name and a face. The person arrested today will never be anything but a coward to our family. We are grateful for the community's sake that he is no longer living among you. But as you look at this coward today, we encourage you to remember and see what this monster was like and capable of 20 years ago. Do not let his current appearance fool you. This is a vile human being, capable of brutally murdering a beautiful, lively, 20-year-old woman and using every effort to keep his part in this heinous crime a secret for 20 years. For what he did and what he has done, he will forever be both a monster and a coward. To the district attorney, who is not here, we say today, all eyes are now on you. We are all watching. Megan's family, the community, and the media. Justice for Megan does not only mean handcuffs at this point. This monster, this coward, has been able to live free nearly as long as Megan was alive on this earth. Megan's family will continue the fight. We, her family, will shoulder any hardship. We will overcome any obstacles, and we will oppose anyone who stands in the way of achieving justice for our beloved Megan and ensuring that her killer has his freedom taken away from him for as long as possible. We reaffirm our commitment to ensure that anyone who has victimized Megan in life and in death will be held to account. We are Megan's voice, and as you look around here today, you can see that Megan will never be voiceless.
Thank goodness for DNA.
We are here for our sweet Megan. Today, the police have given us the gift of the beginning of the end. For 20 years, we have looked forward to a time where we can celebrate Megan's life and honor her memory without wondering who ended her life and where that monster is. We now have those answers. The monster has a face and a name, and he is in jail where he belongs. While we will never allow her death to define who she was, we will continue to fight for the day when we get our Megan back. And with every fiber of our being, we will work to expose everyone that has chosen to victimize her. We look forward to the day when all of this is behind us. We want to...
I mean, what a nightmare. I mean, it's so cool to wait 20 years, but they must have known it was probably this guy for a long time, and it just sort of finally the pieces fell into place where they could do it. Hey, thank you, American Lady, as well.
And with a message that has always been our goal.
Well, thank you,
to
American
finally
Lady. Yeah,
be able to
I do try to work hard
tell the
for you
story
guys.
of the beautiful life she lived, and not simply how she died. Thanks to the police, we have...
By the way, tomorrow we have Letecia Stauch, but there's no Daybell trial whatsoever. So today we'll be playing a 40-minute clip from the only thing that I found mildly interesting.
Enjoy different cases, appreciate your hard work. Love the channel and chat.
Well, thank you.
The beginning of the end. Thank you, everybody, for...
Thank you.
Oh, well, thanks, Mickey Duff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen and James.
Here's some questions.
At this time, I'm going to ask Captain Joseph Pollock, the BCI captain for Troop F, to come up and add a few comments, and he will also take any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Major. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming here today. Today's arrest is just the first step in holding Ed Holley accountable for the murder of Megan McDonald. The only thing that we as law enforcement can do to honor Megan is to bring this case to a successful conclusion.
Hey, thanks,
This has been the
Teresa.
focus of the New York State Police for the last 20 years. This was a very complex investigation for us, and throughout the years, as we put the pieces together, we developed a clearer picture of what occurred on the night of March 13th, 2003, into the early morning hours the following day. It should be noted that the state police and our law enforcement partners brought to bear every available resource to further this case over the last 20 years. Although we've arrested Ed Holley for the murder of Megan McDonald, this is still an active investigation, and we will continue to run down leads. Because this is now a pending criminal matter, there are certain things that we won't be addressing in this setting. The factual basis for this arrest is outlined in our felony complaint, which was filed yesterday.
I'd like to see the felony complaint, if anybody can find that
With that
for
being
me and
said,
send it to me.
I can take a few questions at this time.
What's the new evidence that resulted in his arrest?
It wasn't one specific piece of evidence or information that brought us to this day. It was the culmination, it was all the pieces over the course of the last 20 years that led us to this day.
How about the divers in Mount Hope? Was there any evidence that was discovered there?
There was items that was recovered during that search detail, but at this time I'm not going to release what exactly was recovered. What charges was he being held on? So in early 2020, the City of Middletown Police Department, in conjunction with the FBI and the state police, initiated a narcotics investigation into Edward Holley for the sales of narcotics. In October of 2021, Edward Holley was arrested on those charges. He was subsequently given probation, and his probation was violated, and he was admitted to the Orange County Jail in late February 2023, and that's where he's currently incarcerated on.
Has Mr. Holley been a suspect this entire time, and the evidence?
I'm sorry, I believe somebody. Megan and Ed Holley had previously dated, and they had broken up a few days prior to the homicide, and we believe this crime was intimate partner violence. Additionally, Ed Holley owed Megan a substantial sum of money.
Some of the modern technology that you were able to use in recent
I'm sorry, I believe you were next over here.
Yes, my question was about the evidence in this case. You had said that there were some items that were found in the reservoir. Are you able to disclose what they are, and was Mr. Holley always a suspect or person of interest?
So I'll address the reservoir. We received some information which led us to the reservoir, and we followed up on that information with a search of that reservoir with our underwater evidence recovery team, our divers, and they searched that reservoir for a period of 2 weeks in freezing cold conditions in furtherance of this case in hopes of recovering our evidence. That's what I can say. What was the second part of the question?
Mr. Holley, was he always a person of interest?
So Ed Holley was somebody that was interviewed early on in the investigation. During the course of our investigation, we interviewed him on 4 occasions. He was never ruled out during the last 2 decades, and our investigation determined that Ed Holley is the subject that committed this crime.
How come he wasn't arrested then? Through 4 interviews, was there not enough evidence, and why wasn't there?
We made our arrest today when we felt it was the appropriate time, and today was the appropriate time for that arrest.
The major did mention, this is a follow-up really on his question, so technology that I assume it's DNA and maybe others.
So the major touched on, the foresight of those investigators 20 years ago, collecting all kinds of physical evidence at the crime scenes. Throughout the years, there's been a tremendous advances.
Now, is he paralyzed? That's what she was referring to.
In DNA technology
when she said, "Don't let his looks fool you." Was that what that was about?
We've tried to leverage those things and resubmit evidence for further DNA analysis, and that's what we've done in this case.
Did you claim this the DNA hit in 2021 and in 2023 the charges were filed? Was there a reluctance between
I guess that's karma.
You mentioned 2021. Can you go again with that?
The DNA in the complaint was the DNA hit the cell phone and came back in 2021.
So what
How
I
was
will
it
say,
like Delphi,
this is a pending
Daniel?
criminal matter, is that Ed Holley's DNA was linked to a crime scene. And because it's pending criminal matter, I'm not going to go into any further details regarding the DNA evidence in this case.
Was there any additional witness testimony in recent years that might have turned this case?
We've conducted hundreds and hundreds of interviews in this case. Traveled
That's
up and
weird.
down the eastern seaboard, running
So
this case.
he got
down.
paralyzed just
So,
4 years after the murder.
We've gone at people multiple times. We've, it's like I said before, it wasn't one single piece that led us today. It was the puzzle altogether.
And can you respond? I mean, he did make a comment coming out. I just figured we should have some kind of response.
That's
saying
long,
he's
that
being
complaint.
framed.
Shit.
What did he say to that?
Plato sent
I'm
me
not
the
going to speak on
complaint.
Holley's behalf.
I'm not sure where you got it from.
The possible evidence.
Where was that? I looked for it earlier. I wasn't sure where to look, though.
No. It was not a tip. It was information that we received in this case, but it was not a tip that we received from the public.
How do I... Wait, hold on a second. Original. Now I can download it. Alright. Well, she just sent me the complaint. I don't know if you guys want me to read it, but I don't know. I'd rather, like, we're already at 2 hours and 30 minutes. And then, I mean, I guess we could make it a long night if you want me to go read this complaint here. Yeah, but where did you find it, though? Where was it posted somewhere? Yeah, it does look pretty long. It looks detailed, though. I like that stuff. Yeah. So I'd like to go over this and have a little bit more time and map it all out if you guys would be interested in that. But I mean, it has really detailed information here. So I'll just hold off on that. Thanks for finding that. So, well, I guess we'll go over that tomorrow on the show. How about that? Well, I was going to do Delphi. How about, like, I don't know, it's weird. Maybe Saturday or something. Because tomorrow I was going to do just have a Delphi. We haven't talked about Delphi for a while. You're comparing the Richard Allen Don't Look the Looks Fool You to that? I don't know about that. Oh, so it was in an article. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you can find them in there. I was hoping it was going to be on Scribd, but no such luck. I was in USA Today. Okay. And then Jessica Shoebox sent it also. Not sure where she got it. New York. The link she had doesn't work though. Okay, well, guess what we're going to do now? We're going to listen to the one Melanie Gibbs' husband, a boyfriend, I think, at the time of the murders of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. All right. So didn't you guys? Wasn't this a more interesting way to do everything today? I mean, just sitting there listening to audio of the Daybell case is a little bit monotonous, to be honest with you.
Ex-witness who has been sworn and is on
just like it is right now.
the stand. Ms. Smith, if you'd like to commence with your direct examination.
I got this at 35 minutes, even though I think it was 50 something, but I made it 35, sped up. Should be able to understand it.
You may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please?
David Dale Warwick.
Okay. Mr. Warwick, where do you live?
Pleasant Grove, Utah.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes.
Who are you married to?
Melanie Gibb.
Okay. How long have you been married to Melanie Gibb?
About 2.25 years.
Okay. So if I'm doing the math, what year was that? 2021?
2021.
Okay. Do you know Lori Vallow?
Melanie Gibb.
Yes.
How do you know Lori Vallow?
I met her through Melanie.
Not Andy Gibb.
Do you remember when you first met her?
Yes.
When did you first meet her?
That was
same hairdo though. Same
down in Arizona. I was down there with Melanie, and we got a call. Then she asked us. She asked Melanie to bring me over. They wanted me to meet them.
Okay, so and if at any time, I know sometimes it's hard for you to hear, right?
Yeah.
So if at any time you can't hear, I need you to let me know. All right?
Okay.
All right. So you said she wanted Melanie to bring you over to meet them. Who is she?
Lori Vallow.
Okay, and Lori Vallow wanted to meet you.
Yes.
All right, and where did you go to meet her?
To her house.
Okay, where was that?
I believe it was Chandler, Arizona.
Hey, thanks, Bama.
Was it in Arizona?
Yes, it was in Arizona.
Okay, was she married at the time?
Have a good sleep.
No.
Okay, was she widowed?
Yes.
Okay, who had she been married to?
Charles Vallow.
Okay. How close in time was this to that you met her? Was it to the time that Charles died?
I met her the first week of August, and I just knew Charles had died previously to that, but I wasn't sure how.
Okay.
I didn't know them.
Okay. So the first week of August of 2019?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you met her, you went to her home in Arizona?
Yes.
Who was there at her home when you met her?
There was Chad, Alex, Melanie, I think her last name was Bordeaux at the time, and then Zalima showed up, and then another lady showed up, but I don't remember her name. She was pretty quiet.
Okay. And when you said Chad, do you mean Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Okay. So prior to August of 2019, had you ever met Chad Daybell?
Just over the phone.
Okay. How was it you talked to Chad Daybell over the phone prior to August of 2019?
A few years previous, he reached out to me and wanted to. He wanted to do a book with me.
And did you ever do that with him?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Because I didn't feel it was right, and I didn't feel like he was the one that, if it was to be done, that it should be done with.
Okay. And so at the house at Lori Vallow's home in August of 2019, you saw Chad there.
Yes.
Okay. What happened at the house when you met Lori Vallow?
They were just sitting around the table, and Lori she was an amazing hostess. She was fixing food, and they were like having a social.
Okay.
And,
all right. And then did you have an opportunity to meet her again at any point after that?
Yes.
Okay. Where was it you met her again?
At her apartment in Rexburg, Idaho.
Now, to be clear, at this point, were you married to Melanie Gibb?
No.
Okay. Were you guys dating at this point?
Yes.
Okay. So how did it come to be that you met Lori Vallow at her place in Rexburg, Idaho?
Melanie and Lori wanted to do a podcast with me, which was supposed to happen in Arizona, which it didn't happen. So I was coming up to see Melanie, and I was coming up for the Book of Mormon conference, and I was also coming up because my son just moved to Pocatello, Idaho. Okay. So I just kind of took a long weekend, just kind of see everybody and just enjoy the weekend and do the podcast.
Okay. And so when you say you took a long weekend, what weekend was that?
September 20 through the 23rd, 22nd, right in there.
Okay. Of 2019?
Yes.
Okay. And so, forgive me, you were coming up for kind of three purposes?
Yes.
And those three purposes were what?
I spent some time with my son, with his family in Pocatello. They just moved there a couple weeks previous. And then the Book of Mormon conference was there in Rexburg. And then to see Melanie.
Okay.
And to do the podcast.
Okay. When you say to do the podcast, had you participated in any of the podcast sessions that Lori Vallow and Melanie and others had done before?
No, I did some with Preparing the People, but nobody else.
Okay. And so one of the purposes was to come up and do the podcast with Melanie, Lori. Anybody else going to participate in that podcast?
No.
Okay. Where were you supposed to record the podcast?
At Lori's apartment.
Okay. And so you came up, I believe you said September 20th, and you were going to go to Lori's to do the podcast?
Yes.
All right. Where did you stay that weekend?
Well, I was going to stay in a hotel in Idaho Falls to kind of be in the middle with everything. But Melanie called me and said, hey, don't waste money on a hotel. Lori's got an extra room here. Why don't you just come and stay here? Okay. And the majority of the weekend is going to be in Rexburg anyway, so I decided to stay there.
Okay. So when you got to Lori's place in Rexburg, Idaho, who was at the house, if you remember?
When I got there, Alex Cox, Melanie, Lori, and JJ.
Okay. Now, had you met JJ Vallow before that time?
No.
Okay. Do you remember what JJ was doing when you got there?
He was sitting on the couch playing with toys.
Okay. And did you interact with him at all?
Yeah, I got a Down syndrome boy, autistic, so I just sat down with him to include him. I wanted to see how he was doing and talk to him, but it was like I wasn't even there. He never acknowledged me.
Okay. Now, when you got there, did you see Tylee Ryan there at all?
No.
Did you ever see Tylee Ryan that weekend?
No, never did. I didn't see her. I never did meet her.
Okay. Were you told where she was?
I was told that she was attending Rexburg, Idaho College, and she wanted to be independent.
Okay. And who told you that?
I think it was Melanie told. If I remember, Melanie asked Lori in front of me.
Okay. And then who told you that Tylee was attending college in Rexburg and wanted to be independent?
Yes.
Who said those words?
Lori.
Okay. And so after you had that interaction with JJ, did you have any other interactions with JJ that weekend?
Yeah, there was he had a cardboard box and he was cutting doors and windows out of it, making a home out of it. So I got next to him again and just tried talking to him, but it was the same experience. He was very focused on that and didn't acknowledge me at all.
Okay. And did you ever see him engage with anyone?
I think he engaged with Alex once, and I can't remember what they were talking about, but it looked like a good relationship. Then he got to go outside and play with some children. And he said when he went outside, he just looked really happy.
Now, that weekend, did you see Chad Daybell at all?
Yes.
Okay. How many times did you see him, if you remember?
I would say 4 times, according to memory.
Okay. Can you tell us about any those interactions?
That's when he was trying to teach me about some of their beliefs. About the gathering of the 144,000 and then Satan having powers to push people out of their bodies and then the spirits being stuck. I don't know how far to go with this, but it was just some.
It's okay. I'll ask questions. Okay, that's fair. And that's exactly right. If you're not sure, we'll just do question, answer, okay?
Okay.
All right. Do you need some water or anything?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw you licking your lips. All right. Now, you indicated that he started talking about beliefs and that, and the 144,000, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said. Who was present during this conversation?
Melanie and Lori.
Okay. Did Lori participate in the conversation at all about those issues?
Not that I can recall. He seemed to lead the way on that.
Okay. And did you? What was your response to Chad's, sort of concepts?
I just said, if the Lord's gathering is 144,000, I believe that would happen through his prophet. And then, as far as the Satan having power to push people out of the bodies, I said, we're taught differently in that. That can't happen. He's not given that kind of power.
Okay. So let me stop you there. So you are a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I heard you say through the prophet. Are those doctrines taught through the mainstream LDS Church?
Yes.
Okay. And so your response was things more in line with the teachings of your church?
Yes.
Okay. Were you sort of going along with what Chad was telling you?
I was listening, and then I questioned it. That's. I don't know what you mean by going along.
Did you believe him?
No.
Okay. Did you let him know you didn't believe him?
Yeah.
Okay. So after that interaction, did you have any other interactions with Chad?
Yeah, he had us meet him at a property on the east side of a church.
When you say had us meet him, who was together with that situation?
Me and Melanie met with Chad and Lori at this property.
Okay. And it was next to a church?
Yes.
Okay. What happened when you met with Chad and Lori next to a church?
They just trying to tell us about that beautiful building, like a temple that was there, and that was in spirit. So they wanted to show it to us, but I couldn't see anything.
Okay. Why did they want to show you the temple or the heavenly building they said they were seeing?
I think it tied in with things that they believed in, but I didn't know all their beliefs.
Did you believe it? Could you see a building?
No, I didn't believe it was there, and I couldn't see it, but I was trying to be respectful and just kind of follow along, I guess.
Okay. And then after the visit of a site, what was supposed to happen at that site where you were meeting with Chad and Lori?
We were just supposed to be able to witness it. That's all I recall.
Okay. And then did you run into Chad Daybell again that weekend?
Yes.
Okay, where was that?
They had 80 acres that was out by his place. It was for sale. It was for development.
So why were you looking at 80 acres near Chad Daybell's property?
Yeah, I don't think this guy's gullible. I think he's one of those people who's like, yeah. I mean, have any of you ever seen a psychologist before, or been at a event where you're supposed to be under hypnosis, and eventually you sort of play along because you realize that you don't really, nothing's really happening or working. So you try to make the guy feel better. So that's what he was doing. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful palace there. Wow, it's freaking great, man. It's a great temple. It's freaking... Yeah. He didn't see a damn thing.
Property.
Well, for me personally, I had an investor down in Utah that wanted to do development in Rexburg. So I was interested in it for that. And Chad was interested in it because he wanted me to, he wanted me to move up to Rexburg.
Okay. And so what did you do about going to check out that property?
Since it was Sunday, I just said, well, I don't work on Sunday, but since I'm leaving early in the morning, I said, I'll just drive by, take a picture of the realtor sign, and then I'll, deal with it later, during the work week.
So when you drove by and you took a picture, how was it? How did you get connected with Chad?
We were out there. Alex Cox led us out to the property, so we were just standing out in the field and just talking. And then Chad and some brother that he was serving with in the church, they left. I guess they were clerks or something. They just left and came over to the property.
Okay.
And he said he brought this guy was a realtor, And he said, I just want to, if you have any questions or anything, he can help you with it.
Okay, so who's he? Was that Chad with the realtor?
It was Chad with the realtor, but I don't remember the realtor's name.
Okay. And what was your response to Chad coming and showing up with the realtor at the property?
I just said, I don't do business on Sunday. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not here for that. And, because I didn't know they were coming. They just showed up.
Okay. So after that interaction, did you see Chad Daybell again?
No.
Okay. Did you ever see Chad that weekend at Lori's apartment?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that situation.
That's where he came. That's where he was coming over and teaching me some of their beliefs.
Okay. Did you ever see Chad with JJ that weekend?
No.
Okay. Did you ever hear about any interactions between Chad and JJ?
I heard that he had a scuffle with JJ, and that's how he got the scratch on his neck. But I don't remember what that was about.
Okay. And when you say he got a scratch on his neck, who got a scratch on their neck?
Chad did.
Okay. During the times you saw Chad, what was his interactions like with Lori Vallow?
They were very loving with one another and affectionate.
Okay. Now, at this time, were you aware that he was still married to Tammy Daybell?
Yes.
Okay. Did the fact that he was married come up at all?
Yes.
All right. How did that happen?
I asked him I just asked him how his marriage was with the Tammy and if she was a good wife, and he said he had no complaints that she was a good wife, but he said her time was coming up, and that him and Lori were gonna go do the things that they committed to do for God.
Okay. So when you say her time was coming up, your Tammy's time?
He said he had a dream that she was going to pass away before he was 50 or by the time he was 50.
Okay. And so that was Tammy was going to pass away before Chad was 50?
Yeah, by the time Chad was 50. The dream was I think he said 3 years previous.
Okay. And that, and then he said he and Lori were going to be together. What did that mean?
That they were going to get married and they were going to go do their calling.
Okay. And did you know what their calling was?
That's what I learned. They were going to gather the 144,000.
And they were going to do it together?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any response to this?
That's where I just said that because he was kind of saying that I was one of them, and that's why he wanted me up there. And that's when I said, well, that would be a call from God and through his prophet.
Okay. And what was his reaction when you said it should come through the prophet? It's the prophet of the church, right?
Yeah. I can't remember all the details, but it was clear, kind of like that it was a separate calling. Because it was the Church of the Firstborn, which is going to be coming out of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so that was his position, and he had his authority under John the Beloved, if I remember right.
Okay. And was that your belief?
No.
Okay. Now, did you do the podcast?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you do the podcast?
We did that on Sunday night.
Okay.
It was late.
All right. So that's Sunday the 22nd?
Yes.
All right. And so where did you do the podcast?
At Lori Bellow's kitchen over the island.
Okay. And when you said who's we did the podcast?
Melanie Gibb and Lori Bellow.
Okay. So you're in Lori's kitchen in her home, right?
Yes.
On a Sunday evening?
Yes.
Was JJ there?
No.
Where was JJ?
Alex was babysitting him.
Okay. And was he babysitting him in the apartment or somewhere else?
At his place, his apartment.
All right. Who told you that?
Lori.
Okay.
She just wanted to have uninterruptions so we could do the podcast, so she asked him to watch him.
Okay. And did you see JJ again that evening?
Yes. About 10:30, I believe it was 10:30 at night, I heard the front door open, which was to my back. I turned around and I saw Alex carrying JJ, and JJ was asleep and his head was on his shoulder.
And Alex carried him in the house?
Yes.
Did you see where Alex went?
He took him upstairs.
Okay.
And put him in bed.
All right. Do you remember what JJ was wearing?
It seemed like it was shorts and a t-shirt, but I can't remember the colors. I almost want to say it was the camouflage shorts, if I remember right, but I just...
All right. So did you see Alex leave that night?
It seemed like I heard the door open and close. I didn't turn around again. Once I knew what was going on, I just stayed focused on the podcast. But I didn't see him leave, but it seemed like I did hear the door open and close. It's the vague memory. That's
fair enough. So, where was JJ sleeping while you were staying there?
In Lori's room.
Okay. And what room were you in?
I was in JJ's room.
Okay. So, did you spend that night there as well?
Yes.
All right. Did anything happen in the night?
Yeah, in the early hours of the morning, it was one of the worst nightmares of my life. It was very real.
Okay.
And,
so let me ask you a question. Okay. So did Melanie come try to help you as you were waking up from that nightmare?
Yes.
Okay. How did that happen? Let me do it this way. How did Melanie try to help you?
She had heard me talking in my sleep, kind of, I guess I was screaming out or calling out.
Okay.
And so she kind of helped wake me up.
Okay. And then what happened after she helped wake you up?
She said, I'm going to go get Lori, see if we can get Chad over here to give you a blessing. Okay. So she went, and she went to go get Lori, but she came back because she said she couldn't get anybody.
Okay. And so JJ was this in the middle of the night?
Yes, I would say it was in the early hours of the morning. I didn't have a clock there, but I know it was after midnight.
Okay. So as you were kind of waking up and coming back from the nightmare, did you see Lori Vallow at that time?
No.
Okay. Was Melanie able to get her to come help you guys?
No.
Okay. Now, the next morning, did you see JJ?
No.
Excuse me. Do you need some water?
Sorry.
No, it's all right. You okay?
Yeah.
All right. And so when you woke up the next morning, did you see JJ that morning?
I did not.
Okay. Did you make any inquiries about JJ?
Yes, I did. We went downstairs to say goodbye, and Lori was there, and she just said that JJ had an episode, and he climbed up on the cabinets, and then he climbed up on top of the fridge, and then he climbed up on top of the upper cabinets and knocked over her picture of Christ. And she just said that he was out of, she couldn't control him.
So what did she say she did?
She called Alex and had Alex come and get him.
Okay. So when she said she had Alex take JJ, what did you do?
Well, before she told me that Alex took JJ, I said, well, I'd like to see him because I wanted to make sure he was okay.
Why?
Well, because I didn't see any signs of the cabinets. There was no damage on the cabinets. There was no scuffs on the stainless steel fridge. And I just was trying to understand what was going on here. But also, if JJ did have a problem, I'd like to give him a blessing.
Okay. And so then you asked her where he was.
Yeah.
What did she say?
She said Alex. She had Alex come and get him.
Just to make sure, and I may have forgotten to ask, the date that Lori Vallow said she sent JJ with Alex was what?
That was Monday, the 23rd of September.
2019.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Nothing further.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
So, Mr. is it Warwick or Warwick?
Warwick.
Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Warwick.
Okay. I got it right. And you live in Pleasant Grove, Utah?
Yes, sir.
And your wife, Melanie Gibb, lives where?
Chandler, Arizona.
Okay. And you two married in December of 2021?
Yes, sir.
So in this weekend of September 2019 that you've talked to us about, were you still married to someone else?
No.
Was Melanie Gibb still married to someone else?
What's that?
Was Melanie Gibb still married to someone else?
No.
Okay. Both of you had been divorced by the time of September of 2019?
Yes.
When did you start to see Melanie before your divorce went through?
Objection relevance?
Overruled.
We were seeing each other at Advance.
Okay. So you were separated and then started to see Melanie?
Yeah, I was in the divorce process, and so I had a Downs boy that I was taking care of, and Melanie really hit it off with him at a camp, and so my divorce didn't final as fast as I had hoped it would, but she was divorced.
Mr. Warwick, also I'll ask you to please wait until he's completely finished his question before you answer, just because it helps our court reporter keep the record.
I'm sorry, I thought I was still on the same answer. I
You're fine.
apologize.
Thank you.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a general contractor.
And have you also done podcasts on religious topics?
Yes.
And so that's how you and Melanie Gibb were interested in each other, because you had the same common interest in religious topics?
That was, yes.
And is that how you met Lori Vallow?
I met Lori through Melanie. I would say it was the same intent.
Okay. And that's how you met Chad Daybell as well?
Yes.
And that's how you met Alex Cox?
Yes.
And how would you describe Alex?
He was a fun-loving guy. He was very humorous, and he can be genuine and he can be lighthearted.
And that's how you also met Zulema about the same time in late 2018 or 2019? I met
Zulema at Lori's the first time.
And so that was August of 2019?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you learn that Lori and Alex moved from Arizona to Idaho?
Through Melanie.
And so this conference that you were going to in Rexburg, Idaho, was that, what kind of a conference did you say that was?
A Book of Mormon conference.
And who was that sponsored by?
Rod Meldrum.
So that wasn't part of your church, that was just a private conference?
Yeah, they were members of the church, and Rod was, it was his conference, and the people preparing the people were doing the filming for him.
And so Preparing a People, is that a group sponsored by your church?
No.
So who is it sponsored by? Just a bunch of people getting together?
They're just the private owners.
Okay. And when you say you get together to do podcasts, what does that mean?
Sit down and discuss a topic or be interviewed.
And who's the designated audience for this podcast? Who are you trying to sell it to?
I'm just trying to think what their, well, it was mainly to the saint, for the Latter-day Saints.
And so have you ever made money on these podcasts?
No.
So the podcasts are for education and not money?
Right.
And where would your podcast be downloaded to?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. I understand it's cross, but it's relevance.
All right. I'll allow some more here, Mr. Archibald, that needs to tie into direct, if you could.
Well, you told the prosecutor you were doing podcasts with preparing a people. That's what you told the prosecutor.
Well, their interviews, I don't know if podcast is the right name. Melanie and Lori called theirs podcast. Preparing people, I think they just called theirs, they just did weekly things where they would highlight topics. And then they would ask people, people to come in, and then they would just kind of go into that topic and, scripturally and experience with it.
And so your purpose in doing these podcasts was just to talk about your religious beliefs?
Yes, and to build faith. We did most of the ones I did with preparing the people. Well, sorry, I'm saying too much.
No, it's not that you can't continue to answer. It was just avoid talking before Mr. Archibald's done. So we
but I just didn't know where to end it, so that's why I stopped. Sorry.
So we don't have two people talking at the same time for the court reporter, if you would. So, thank you.
Okay.
And is there a group called Preparing a People?
No.
What is Preparing a People?
They host conferences, and they invite speakers to come in and vendors.
And have you been a speaker at some of these Preparing a People events?
Yes.
And the reason that you've been a speaker is because of what?
Because of my conversion to the faith, and because of the doctrines that I came to understand.
Okay. And so you've participated in these podcasts, or sometimes they're called firesides. Is that right?
Yes.
And you've given talks or speeches about the second coming of Jesus. Is that right?
About my dreams and visions.
And so would you call yourself a visionary man?
Well, others have called me that. I don't call myself anything.
So on your speeches or your podcasts, have you shared your visions with other people?
Yes.
And you've had visions of secret combinations taking place in Washington, D.C.
Judge, I'm going to object at this point. I fail to see the continued relevance of this.
Goes to his credibility, Your Honor. The state brought this up, not me.
It is, I think, appropriate.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, I haven't ruled yet.
I know. I apologize, Your Honor.
What was your comment? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask under Rule 16, comment 610 is that impugning somebody's religious beliefs or going beyond the scope of this trial is impermissible cross-examination.
Well, that door opened a long time ago in this case. I think with the context of the state's evidence, I will keep that rule in mind. I appreciate you bringing that up. At this point, I do think we're still within the scope of permissible cross-examination given the direct examination, so I'll overrule the objection.
You've given talks about visions of secret combinations in Washington, D.C. Is that correct?
Yes.
You've given talks about visions of secret combinations in England and Saudi Arabia. Is that right?
Yes.
You've given talks about evil entities in England, right?
No, I'm not sure where that one's going.
Okay. You've seen visions of Russia and China invading the United States.
Yes.
You've seen visions of Russia and China attacking the United States military and defeating us in 3 days.
Yes.
You've seen visions of the United States being sacrificed for a one-world government. Right?
I don't know where that one came from.
You've been, well, I didn't make this up.
Yeah. Well, the context is what's being avoided. That's why it's difficult here. So.
Okay. So what's the concept about the United States being sacrificed for a one-world government?
Judge, objection again on that concept and relevance.
All right. At this point, Mr. Archibald, I do think we're getting away from the evidence of the case and direct. So if you could tie this in some way, if it does, if not, I'll sustain the objection.
You talked about having a vision while at Lori Vallow's home in September of 2019. You told that to the prosecutor, right?
Objection. Misstates the evidence.
Overruled. If the witness can answer, you can correct if that's misstating evidence.
I had a nightmare.
So a nightmare and a vision are two different things.
Yeah.
So how do you define a nightmare versus a vision?
Well, it's like whatever the nightmare was about, it was like I was living in it.
And a vision is just pretend?
No, a vision is when you're observing and you're being shown.
So both a vision and a nightmare are real?
No, not necessarily.
So What's the? Can you further explain the difference between a vision and a nightmare? How one works and not the other one?
A vision is when you're being shown, when you're being shown things when you're seeing the future, but you're not seeing yourself. Somebody else is presenting it.
And so your visions come from who?
The ones I talked about came from angels, under God.
And your nightmare comes from who?
It was very adversarial. There was no. It was consumed. It was a lot of fear and a lot of darkness, and there was no order to it.
So the fear and darkness came from who?
Well, it was adversarial. I don't know who it came from, but.
And when you say adversarial, are you talking about the devil?
I would say it was from that direction.
An angel of the devil?
Could have been.
You've had these visions and nightmares throughout your time that you knew Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, and Melanie Gibb. Is that right?
No, I just had that experience that night.
So on the night that you were in Rexburg, you wanted to get a blessing from Chad Daybell. Is that right?
Well, Melanie just said, I think you need to get a blessing. I'm going to go see if I can get.
I mean, these people are just full-on lunatics, you know? Where do these people come from? God.
Lori to get Chad. So I was, I just agreed. I was distraught.
And what is a blessing?
It's when it's exercised under the direction of the priesthood to bless you with deliverance, comfort, or healing, or guidance.
So you wanted a blessing from Chad Daybell?
Well, Melanie just offered to get it. I was in a position where I wasn't all there. I was really struggling with whatever. I just remember it was horrified with what I was seeing.
And so what would a blessing from Chad Daybell do for you? What would a blessing from Chad Daybell do for you?
What have we done?
Yeah.
Well,
objection, speculation.
Overruled.
I would have hoped for peace, but it wasn't my idea. Melanie was just trying.
I mean, these people are nuts. I mean, I believe that there's a colony of aliens called the Iglaglugs that are going to be flying down to the planet, not in the too distant future here. They're going to beam down in what looks like, they're going to look like horses. It's strange. They're going to beam these massive horses down, and then when people come and look inside of them, the back of it's going to come down, and they're going to come running out in Trojan garb. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I have had the visions. Don't tell me I'm crazy, everybody. Do not tell me.
To get help.
And you and Melanie... I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You and Melanie were in the same room when this nightmare happened?
Yes.
And you were sleeping in JJ's room?
Yes.
And you were woken up by your nightmare?
Yes.
And then you woke up Melanie?
She woke me up because I was, she could tell that something was going on, so.
And so you agreed?
Maybe we woke each other up, I don't know.
And so you agreed to seek help from Chad Daybell?
Yes.
And did Chad Daybell come?
No.
Yeah,
when
I'm not a fan of the judgment.
Had you seen this scratch on Chad's neck from JJ?
He pointed it out, but it was pretty minor.
That you didn't see the scuffle, but
Chad... No, I didn't.
The scuffle.
But Chad told you about it?
The demon.
Yes.
He turned into a dark spirit.
And when Chad told you that his wife's time was up, that he had...
Yeah, how do we know that JJ even scratched Chad? How do we know Chad just didn't put it on there and tell everybody else, the witnesses, oh, look at this. I got a scratch from JJ. He used to be normal, but apparently he's been taken over by an evil spirit named Laglog, who has now taken him over, and he is a zombie. So we're going to have to get Alex out there to take care of the zombie. Yeah, that's what I think he probably did. He put a scratch on himself and then told people it was the zombie who's inhabiting, the evil spirit inhabiting JJ's body, but it wasn't really JJ. So the best thing we can do to free the soul from limbo is to kill the physical body of JJ. And Alex, would you go ahead and do that for me, please?
A dream she would die. Did you believe that?
I wasn't certain what to believe at that point.
he was teaching about the 144,000. Is that a concept you're familiar with?
Yes.
Tell us what you understand that to be.
All I understand is during the time of the tribulation that God's going to have 144,000 that will cover the earth to gather his elect and to help gather his people and help deliver them from the trying circumstances.
And have you wanted to be part of the 144,000?
No, I mean, it would be an honor, but it's nothing I was seeking.
And I think you told the prosecutor that you didn't think Chad had the authority to gather.
No.
Who do you think has that authority?
The prophet of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And who is that?
Well, now it's President Russell M. Nelson.
Okay. So what? That's where your disagreement with Chad Daybell was who had authority to do that.
Yes.
Had you ever heard of the Church of the Firstborn before?
I just see it in the scriptures, but.
Yeah, where in the scriptures?
Doctrine and Covenants.
And what's the Doctrine and Covenants?
It's a canonized scripture of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
So is the Church of the Firstborn is that in the Holy Bible?
It could be.
Is it in the New Testament or the Old Testament?
Yeah, I guess the only part that's weird to me is that Joseph Smith, the original guy, he was like a swindler, con man type person who would go around and swindle everybody, and then he goes, "Ooh, wow, I'm gonna come with this religion. Oh, guess what? I can have as many wives as I want." And he goes through this whole thing, and somehow that's sort of overlooked. That's what he was prior, because I don't know. That part bothers me. It's pretty weird.
It could be. I'm not recalling all this right now.
Is the Church of the Firstborn mentioned in the Book of Mormon?
I don't know.
Who is John the Beloved?
The close disciple of Jesus Christ.
So John the Beloved was told something about the Church of the Firstborn. Is that what you learned from Chad? Or how do those two concepts go together?
I just heard that that's where he had gotten his authority from.
That's where Chad had gotten his authority from?
Yes.
Not Moroni?
And these are the kinds of things that you talk about on your podcast?
No.
What do you talk about on your podcast?
On the podcast, I go into topics like fasting, and then a lot of them were the conversion, coming where I came from, and the conversion stories and experiences from the time I was converted up through my mission, serving in the LDS mission. And so, but they were in the context to build faith. They weren't in the context of seeking these things. They were experiences as a result of repentance and faith and service.
And so when you agreed to do a podcast with Chad and Lori and Melanie on Sunday night in Rexburg, Idaho, what was the topic of that podcast?
First off, it was just Melanie and Lori. Chad was not part of it.
Okay. And so what was the podcast with Melanie and Lori about?
It's about sanctification, and I'm trying to remember what the actual topic was.
What does sanctification mean?
Well, it's when as you repent and serve God, and as you prove faithful to Him, your heart, the Lord changes your heart, makes you clean, makes you whole, and endows you with greater faith.
And your audience for this podcast was, again, who?
It was preparing people, and there was camps, the preparedness camps. Sometimes I went and spoke at those. So I just a lot of it was not really venues. It was more like camps and organized firesides, family reunions, and I would be invited to either speak or invited to do an interview and cover a topic.
And so, being invited to speak at a preparedness camp, what topics would you talk about?
Judge, I'm going to object. I understand it's cross your honor, but at some point it becomes irrelevant.
I'll sustain the objection on relevance. I think we're beyond the scope of tying into the evidence of the case at this point, Mr. Archibald.
So, your whole purpose was to get ready for the second coming of Christ in these podcasts?
No.
What was your purpose?
Whole purpose was to build faith and to help identify stumbling blocks to faith, and also to help identify the fruits of faith, and to help identify how involved our Father in heaven is with each one of us when we're truly trusting in his Son, Jesus Christ, and seeking his will.
Now, were you, when you left Lori's apartment on September 23rd, 2019, you indicate that you were anxious to go visit your son in Pocatello?
Yes.
And did Melanie go with you there?
She did.
And that's the time that you say you did not see JJ?
Yes.
And did you call the police?
No, I didn't. Did not.
Right. You didn't have any reason to, right?
I didn't see any reason. Lori was one of the most sweetest, kindest, fun-loving. She was a wonderful. I really enjoyed her. She was a wonderful woman. This stuff kind of hit me that weekend, and I just wasn't. Anyway, I just didn't see the. It was like what they're teaching doesn't match what I see in their character, and so I kind of left a little confused and puzzled and trying to discern.
Well, their character was good, right?
Yeah, I saw goodness. Yes.
And
I didn't see any reason to suspect.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, that'll conclude cross-examination. Any redirect by the state?
Yes, thank you. Defense counsel asked you about dreams and visions. I want to ask you about reality.
Okay.
The morning of the evening of September 22nd, who carried JJ up to bed?
Alex.
Okay. And the morning of September 23rd, who told you where JJ was?
Lori Vallow.
And what did Lori Vallow say to you about what happened to JJ on the 23rd?
She said he was out of control and she couldn't control him, so she had Alex come and get him.
Okay. And when she said he was out of control, did she give you specific examples? Real examples of what she said out of control meant?
That's when she said that he climbed the cabinets in the fridge in the upper cabinet and pushed over her picture of Christ that sat on the top of the upper cabinets.
And did you see any evidence with your own eyes that any damage had occurred that would be consistent with JJ climbing the cabinets?
No, I didn't see any scuffs on the fridge, and I didn't see any bent door hinges and the crown molding. The way it's fastened, it would have popped off if he would have gotten up there.
Okay. And so when she said that, what did she say she did with JJ?
She just called Alex and just said that you need to come and get him. I can't handle him.
Okay. And then she said she sent JJ with Alex?
Yeah.
Nothing further?
Well, that's it, you guys. That's it. Okay. And thank you for all the super chats and everything tonight. Early. I mean, it was amazing because it was like the last 2 hours almost completely died off the face of the earth. It was amazing. But early on, it was awesome. So thank you guys. This guy as well as his wife. Yeah, I don't know what you call it. It seems like all of these people were part of, I mean, I guess they're just other members of the cult, you know. I don't really know what you call it, but they're just other members of the cult. The only people I really want, you know, I don't know. It feels like something's up with Pastinez and Melanie Gibb somehow. This guy here was just sort of a guy dating one of the other crazy people. But it seems like they were all part of the same momentum, but a few bailed quick enough. They got out of there. Yeah, it seems like they were encouraging and part of believing in stuff. Anybody who was casting spells, you know, the castings, those people are guilty of something. I mean, because they believed in the same stuff. Yeah, we believed in it, but we wouldn't. How do we know? How do we know if you wouldn't have taken it all the way? Don't know. All right. Let's see. So now I have it set up where it can't make that same error. See, now it's just the website itself, not some link to it where if you switch it, I mean, of course it does the same thing, like if I went like this, but I wouldn't be doing that, because on this other page is where I would say thanks to people like Traveling Teresa a couple different times. Thank you very much. Then where is it? And then I think Eugenie. Yep. Eugenie, and also Susie Clue, who are getting notebooks. And then I think there's another one. Oh yeah, and then Traveling Teresa again, I think. Pretty sure. So anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And so there's a couple blank spots up here. Let me see if they're down here at the bottom. Oops. I don't know where those blanks are, but there, some of them are right there. Let me see if I move this down. Huh, weird. Okay, here we go. We're going to spin for a notebook. So anybody who's won a notebook or bought a notebook, I'll spin once I get the pens. I did get this little paw, but it might be too small. We'll see. Man, didn't you guys notice how it just died down dramatically once I did the press conference and then the Daybell again? I don't think I'm ever going to do Daybell again. Hey, look at this mag! Mag generally wants to spin again, but you might want to win this one because it's a new one, Mag. It's the new blue notebook. So I think you should get this one. You have to send me your address again now. I don't store them. I think Mag's on rewind. A little bit. You don't want the new one? The blue notebook? It's this one right here. Look it. Look it. There he is, blue, GHI, or as some idiots might say, a yellow notebook. Yeah, right there, okay. Gray, maybe they're just colorblind. Did you ever think of that, Gray? Gee. Oh, here's what I wanted to say. Did you guys see the Congress lady today? Well, I can just send it to you, Mag. Just send me your address. The, what is it? Oh, this congresswoman. You know how there's crash dummies out there? And they're guys, crash dummies? She said it was unfair and it's discriminatory that the other crash dummies, there aren't female crash dummies. I mean, can you imagine what a waste that lady should lose her job in Congress the moment she brought that up. What a complete waste of time. Are you kidding me? We need to have crash dummies that are females because it's not fair, and I think we need to have equity in the... Okay, I'm spinning again. Okay, here we go. All right, we're spinning again. And look at that, it's Kathy Friedenmaker. But I was thinking, man, what a bigoted congresswoman that was. You know, she didn't include maybe a transgender crash dummy. I mean, what in the hell's going on here, everybody? I'm outraged. I think we should picket that congresswoman. You bigot, man. You didn't even say that it could have been a, And they did actually pass a bill. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. I think it's pretty odd. Well, let me ask you guys something. So today, the Republican passed a bill outlawing transgender females to compete in sports with other, biological females, right? So a biological male they outlawed it, right? But you know what the vote was? It was 100% Republican and 100% Democrat no. So are the Democrats out there now not supporting women's rights, biological women's rights? I don't really understand that. This seems like such an obvious thing that it's mind-boggling. I think that people should be able to compete in sports, but you can't do it at the sake of I've been saying this for 4 or 5 years just because of logic. I mean, to me, it just doesn't make sense. And I've been saying it, and people go, yeah, great, come on, yeah. But if you notice right now, it's becoming a much bigger deal. Much bigger. And I'm a little bit surprised that more women aren't outraged at this whole thing. It's very odd to me that you're okay again with women or men taking your spots. Okay? Well, they're not gray. You see, they called them. Okay, all right. Biological men taking your spots, and I don't understand it. If you can explain why that's okay all of a sudden, let me know. All right. Well, great. I'm sure you all tuned in for Gray's opinion at the end of the show. Thank you very much for being here. I'll wait for my hate mail in the morning saying, Gray, I tuned into your show for the cases, not the politics. Gee. God, how many times? Yeah. What were they saying today? Yeah, I mean, why not just have a category? I mean, what I would do is this. In team sports, you just have to have your own league for transgender people. That's it. In non-team sports, you could have them compete with, but there's categories at the end when they give out the medals. They could say, the fastest transgender female wins this one. The fastest biological female wins this one. The fastest biological male wins this one. And the fastest transgender male wins this one. Now here's the overall winner is this person, and here's the order. So you could even have things where, wow, everybody, this is the first time that a biological female has beaten the transgender female. First time in history. We could have things like that. So it make it sort of interesting like that. And maybe there'll be a time where a biological female beats everybody. I think what's clear is that biological females should be able to compete at any level that they're able to compete at. That's where I'm at. They should be able to compete with men or down back towards their level in physical sports like basketball and football. But if you have a woman that can play those with the men, then she gets to play it. What an oxymoron. I don't get it. Huh? Oh, yeah, biological. Yeah, well, that makes sense, Mickey Duff. Yeah. Yeah, you probably won't get the other way around. Yeah, I think it's just... I think people just need to not feel pressured to believe in something that you don't believe in, like that. Okay? It doesn't mean... I think everybody's okay with transgender people being able to be who they want to be and do their things, but you can't do that and then by accepting that other categories get destroyed, like biological females in sports. Okay? I mean, you could literally have an entire basketball team of transgender females at some point, and they'll be playing against a female basketball team, and the score will be 200 to about 60. I mean, it would just be an absolute blowout. So it's not fair, and I've said it, and it's interesting how all of a sudden it's becoming a bigger issue. I think it's because of that swimmer who got second. I think it was in, I don't know if it was the national swimming competition. She got second to a guy that was, 6'4", transgender female who just blew everybody away. But he wasn't a very good swimmer against the men, but he was way better as a guy. So, what do you mean, Zozo? I don't get it. Let's see. They say, well, how is that segregation? Huh? How is that segregation, American lady? So you think that transgender females should be able to compete with other females, or is that what you're saying? It's not segregation at all. There's already so right now when female compete, aren't they being segregated against the men in the Olympics? Yeah, I mean, so why can't we have other categories? I think that's the only way to do it fairly. What's going on? What are you talking about, Liz? We're not talking about gun violence. Huh? I think women are the only people that should be able to compete at any level that they're able to. Yeah, I'm trying to say, when you say be nice to each other, I don't know what that means. Those it didn't seem to fit into the. Are there people that are arguing up there? That's what I don't. The reason, the why is it's political. They're trying. I don't to be honest with you, it's a strange phenomenon. It's like you've got this political group of people that just keep trying to add and bring in more and more. I posted an article in Discord a while ago that the international human rights, they're trying to normalize the consent age for sex. Can you believe that shit? I mean, it's a real thing. I showed an actual legitimate article where they're trying to get that age way lower down to make it so it's not a big deal. It's almost like there's these people on the islands, as it were, are winning. Yeah, it doesn't matter about the meds or anything. The meds don't affect anything about your muscles and how they're formed and any of that stuff. Yeah, well, that's what's kind of weird too. It's like when you... So if you're a biological female that wants to be a man, you have to take steroids, right? Testosterone. And so that's a banned substance. So how can they compete with the men? Even if they were biological females, they're taking a substance that men can't take. So you've got that issue. And then if you go down the other direction, you just literally have males that are built differently, and then they can't, they're much stronger naturally than females are. I mean, it's just the way it is. Like, men can't give birth, women can, we're just different. Oh, okay, sorry, Jennifer. Hopefully they're happy with... Well, the thing is, wages aren't really as big a deal as everybody tries to make it out here. It's not even close. There's jobs that women do because they want to do it that actually reduce the overall average, but when you go to regular places, they do really well financially, I mean, it's not absolutely the same because you've got these huge executive salaries of like 20 million a year, and then you put that into the average and it makes it look like everybody was doing better. Yeah, I just think it's not, that issue is just so overblown at this point, you know. And there's women are much more employed too. I'm sure it's still not absolutely equal though. I guarantee it, it's not. It's not like it was in the 60s or 70s or something like that. My mom actually sued a bank that she worked at because she was an appraiser, and she was paid about half of what the men were paid because she was moved up into the business appraisal, you know, like corporate stuff. And she was just doing really well with that. But she was paid half of what men were paid for years. And then she was like, what's going on here? And so they did a little settlement thing. I think it wasn't that much though, but she was able to, back then, you know, like $20,000 or something. You could buy a house and build it for that little amount of money. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. No, it's not that big a deal, Susan. Sorry. You're confused. Yeah, it might be a bigger problem over there, Zozo, but yeah. Let's see. Well, what I do know is, would you really want somebody? Forget it. It's a waste of time. I just don't think that the wage issue is as big a deal. If in the actual, like, let's say you go to IBM or something and you have all these people laid out. I bet it's pretty equal in there, no matter what your gender is, depending on the job that you have. But the thing is women a lot of times choose jobs like being a teacher, or, you know, there's those types of jobs, or some other jobs where the income isn't very high. So when you average it out, but when they're in the same field as somebody else, they make the same amount, generally, right? Except the executive, high-end people probably get millions more. Like, you might get 10 million for this guy, but the woman who got the same job later gets 5 million. Which, that isn't cool, but that's what I think. I've seen it. Like, give me the real hardcore stats that say it's way off. Yeah. That's what I think too, Mag. But eventually you get somebody that comes in and they go, "Oh, you're screwed, man. This has been my selling point for years. I gotta keep going." So what is it called? The pay gap? That's it. What does it say? Gender pay gap. The gender gap, this is Pew Research, has remained relatively stable in the United States over 20 years. In 2022, women earned an average of 82% of what men earned. So that, I mean, see what I'm saying? I said it, that's about exactly what I was thinking in my head. 82%. While that's not equal, it's not like ludicrously, and it's usually skewed by the high-end executives who get way too much money, and it's way more than a woman would get at the same position. And when you average those people out, it screws up the curve. As has long been the case, wage gap is smaller for workers ages 25 to 34. What the hell am I still here for? I gotta get out of here. Jesus. Hasn't been a super chat in 2 hours and 20 minutes. And now I'm just going down a rabbit hole. So anyways, thank you guys for being here tonight. Pick up your prizes on the way out the door. Yeah, I don't know. But we will see you guys tomorrow. In the morning, we're going to do Letecia Stauch. Hopefully, we can get the ball rolling over there, okay? But thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And, as I always say, everybody, until next time. Hey, there's one right at the buzzer. Thanks, Zozo. Be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time,
Yeah, I hope you guys
have not seen
liked
one
the show
person
tonight. We were kind of all over the
that
place,
is
but
a
interesting topics,
crime
right?
dissector.
I thought it was really cool, Gray.
Certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector.
Good night, everybody.
Is my nectar.
Hey, what happened to the music?
Another lecture. Crime
That's what I was gonna say, Gray. Gee.
I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector.
Interceptor.
And a meter than a spectre
With a vector.
On his pector. With all respect.
I'm gonna flash your addresses. Here they come. Oh, look at that one. Look at that one.
I'm the pretender. And I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right?
Hey, thanks, Gwendolyn, bitch. Yay.
Tonight was a very special program. We discussed many cases tonight, all of which included a barbarian. Yes, those very same barbarians of your nightmaric dreams. Although I'm not quite sure nightmaric is a word, but it sounded great right then. Tune in tomorrow when Letecia Stauch flips off the judge and the world goes wild. It will be incredible.
Wow, Gray, I got chills. I got chills, Gray. And they're multiplying.
What the hell are you talking about? You got chills and they're multiplying? Wow, you gotta go tell Chasing Truth that. Would love to hear that one. All right, you guys, we'll see you later. And be safe out there. Thanks, mods.